Hi everyone, welcome to the second and the last part of the Power BI session, which actually was mainly targeting to cover all our needs which can lead into generating a useful insights. I'm telling you all, like, after we learn all these points, we can start working in even high level and detailed insights. Even though there is many other things can be still, you can still learn in Power BI, but basically those subject was being covered here is very fair enough to start working and generating a very useful insight. So now in today's video, we are going to cover these three parts remaining: maps creation, modeling and DAX, and then we be ended by Power Query. So initially, I would be starting with the maps creation and so on. So the first thing I would like to do that I would like to highlight that Power BI in general are having many different maps. You can see, for example, in the right figure here, this is map. This is a standard map of Power BI. Then you have filled map, you have shaped map, and also you have this kind MAPBOX visual, and you have icon map, and you have this ARCGIS, and this one at the end. Okay, the main point that why we have different maps, that majority is like using external or third party. The main point that because the Power BI actually maps is not really covering all the requirements which you usually use, especially if you're speaking about direct domain. But all the maps which you have is really very useful. But this here I give a comparison between the maps which you will really need, and I will tell you which one is more recommended. So the first, as you can see here, this is the functions, and this is Power BI map standard, which is this one, and this is Azuri map, which is this one, and here Mapbox visual, which is this one, and ArcGIS, which is the last one, which is here, ArcGIS maps for Power BI. You still have many more, but this is the most common maps. So in general, like, this is the main function. This is like street maps and other maps being covered or not. Like, only this map is not being covered. And we have another inputs, as you can see here, like customized legend, ranges control. Here, for example, speaking about you want to give different color ranges and so on, heat map, clustering, multiple layers, and so on. So at the end, just like before highlighting, you can see already the recommendation here, but the main most important parts which you are going to use usually is Mapbox is the most powerful map among these all four, and ArcGIS. Actually, this one is very good, but the main problem now, it's not anymore supporting the streets and other maps, and I will be showing this one. However, I will be covering the most of the use cases for all four maps in this session, but as my recommendation, this one will be used as most. Like, as a recommendation, if you want to do like high level insights and so on, this one Mapbox is most recommended, and come after ArcGIS. Then the Power BI standard map can be used for any quick visualization which you need instead of downloading and so on. So just quick one. Power BI standard map is already available all the time. You don't need to download. For Mapbox visual, actually you need to go to the three dots, get more visual, then click into get more visual here. Then after that, you need to search for Mapbox, as you can see. So, and then after you need to click and install this part. Then you can just after adding can get it into your map, and it will be coming like this. Same for the icon map, and for this one, actually Azuri map, this is you need to enable it from here, file. Then you go to option and settings. Then you go to options. So once you go to the options part, you can go first for the preview features. If you click into preview features, you will find that this is map visual. You need to click it because usually this one is not enabled. And one more important part that sometimes you'll face this issue, just to let you know in advance, the security part. Sometimes you'll find that your maps are not working because ArcGIS and they're talking about the standard map, because this one will be unclicked, so you need to click it as well just to ensure it's being clicked. So now let's go back to the report. So now let's directly give you quick comparison, then I will go through one by one. So here, as you can see, this is I have a draft list, like I have some dots or points for the coverage, and I would like to give a different coloring or yeah, as you can see here, to give different coloring just to plot and see what kind of information we can get it from here. So as you can see in the figure in the left here, we have the coverage. This is for the standard map. If you click in this one here, you see it's coming as map here. And as you can see, we can still give, and it's giving the legend above here. And this one, I will explain how you can get it. This is the tree legend to which you have it. And then you have this kind of Zuri map. And the main point about this map is even very good one, but the main problem that it's not anymore supporting this background of street maps. So that's why I really don't, I cannot use it now because this is something very important for me. Then the MAPBOX visual also same, as you can see, it's giving the RSRB as the legend here. Then you have the ARCGIS as well. It's giving the map with street maps and so on. And above here, I have just created some customized legend, or which you can control it for all the maps. If you click, for example, here, it will now just start showing this particular color. Same if you click here, for example, also it will be start showing the bad dots for all the 4 maps. So this is something applicable. We can just learn how to do it later on. Then speaking about the heat map, as you can see here, this is a heat map. I will tell you quickly what is the main drawbacks for each one of those. For example, this is the Power BI standard map again. It's okay. It's here. We can control the radius and how much we need as well and so on. But the main drawbacks about this part that the more you zoom in here, the once you zoom in, it will disappear. This is the main problem. So you can just have a very high level overview from like zooming out a lot. This is one of the main advantages. This one I will skip it now because it's not any more important for us, but it's also good. You can see you can zoom in still, and it still will be showing useful information. For example, this heat showing that high traffic or high number of testing or whatever based on your given data. So for example, here I'm giving some point samples. So this is for testing samples. So this is giving that this particular red highlighted area is having high samples. And here for the MAPBOX visual, for example, I did this point, it was in this particular city. So you can see, and this is also one of the advantages in this map that you can make selection the cities and so on. You can see also, this is like giving a good view. And the most important point that it's supporting even zoom till very near points. So this is also good thing compared to especially to Power BI Amazon. And same for here for ArcGIS. It's good also for zooming, yeah, kind of good. But the main problem about this part that you cannot control the colors as much as you can. It's just giving you some standard color which you can use it. Then it's about this point. It's about the point selection. Actually, sometimes even in the first figure, which I was showing to you about the plots comparison and so on, sometimes I need to select an area. For example, zoom in here. I need to select a particular area. So this one is giving the option as a square. See, now it's being selected. And if you right click, you can even exclude, remove it from the figure here. So if I did like this one will disappear. It will disappear from the map. And it will come for sure in the filter. Whenever you want to get it back, you can just click here and get it from the filter. But the main point about that here it's good, but it's only rectangular selection. So this is the only thing we have to check it, but in all cases it's fine as well. Here also this is the same idea, but this is giving even more advantage for the selection. You can see giving polygon selection, square selection, rectangular selection, circle selection. And for the MAPBOX visual, actually it's also giving multiple options of the selections. Above here you can see also have this one, and you have polygon selection. But the main disadvantage of here of this map actually that you cannot exclude a certain point. This is the main disadvantage. That point exclusion, like what you have already here, we cannot. So if you want to select something out, if you right click, you cannot. There is no option for exclude. This is the only drawbacks for this particular thing. ArcGIS also having a similar thing. Going for the clusterization part, what it means by clusterization. For example, if I have many points in the map, as we just shown here, more points in the map, as you can see, for example, now I converted these points into circles, and it start like taking the average of these points, increasing the average and taking the average of these points. If you click here, for example, this is having an average of 417. This is a giving points as latency. So this latency is like, yeah, value millisecond. So for example, here it's 117. So it's just taking based on the radius we're giving, it's making a cluster and giving you the overall average here. And also for ArcGIS, it's the same. You can do it square or even whatever you want. Like if you click into this particular cluster now, for example, it will tell you that the average latency for this cluster is 118. And same if you go to here, for example, it will tell you the average latency is 20, for example. And this is have more advantage compared to this one because it's have different shapes. The other two maps does not support this particular thing, but still there is a limitation. It's not really like QGIS or MapInfo. So sector creation or polygon creation, actually, this is it can be done for this map Azuri. Like we can even upload a second layer, but just an image. While for the MAPBOX visual, actually, this part is actually doable to get it, like even with the information. This is one of the most strongest part about this map compared to the others. If you, for example, go to I just need to go to my area. So here is my area. You can see the good part that now you can select even a sector or cell, and if you click here and here, for example, you can select one or two sites, whatever, based on what you need, a group or a group of sites, whatever you need, you can get it. And this is once you click it, it's clickable. You can get the information of the KPIs or whatever visualization can be controlled. This is the advantage of this part. So now we have done for the comparison, quick comparison. Now I will go through one by one and I will show you how to do all these kind of steps. Let's now move to the first one, which is a standard map. So actually in Power BI standard map, I'm going to cover these things highlighted by green, which is, first of all, this is just functionality. It's, as you can see in the background, supporting the streets and even other satellite maps and so on. So this even can be changed. Then the first thing we are going to cover is how to, for example, if you have dots and you would like to get different colors or even customize widget as shown above here, how to do this part, and also to how to control the ranges within this part. For example, we have here 3 ranges. So initially, let's start. So I'm going to use this data in the right, which is called 4G DTD data, and this is covering for like this dots, which is called RSRP, something like coverage level, and you have lat and long. So this is the 3 inputs which I'm going to use. So now I'm going to move this, or we can just make it very small, and I will just going to create for one from scratch. So the first point here, you need to go for this map, then you will click it once you got it. So the easiest way around, first point, you need to plot these kind of things. So we need to move the lat to the latitude, and same for the longitude. Okay, but one just important point, sometimes this, when you click it, it will be showing as a summarization, as a sum or average or whatever. So this should be don't summarize. If, for example, if you kept it as average or sum or whatever, so it will be given like display latitude and longitude pairs, say the aggregation latitude to don't summarize. So this is, you have to keep it into your mind whenever you are plotting the maps. This is one also point. And also if you want to ensure that this is like a latitude and doesn't have any summarization, if you click here, see above here, there is a column tool, so you can change the data category into the type of this data. For example, latitude, longitude. This is in case of this. So we have already plotted those. So now what we need to do, the first thing, you need to get color for those, or a legend. So there is different ways. First of all, you can directly take, for example, let's try, take this one here into the legend RSRP. It will give like thousands of colors, because if you go to this kind of table, if you look into this data, see it's having like many color here, as you can see, many dots, so each dot will take a different color. So this is not what we're looking for usually. So there is two ways. It's like both of them moving to the same direction. For example, you need to create a support column here as shown here with the current ranges would like to get. Okay, so the first way you can do that, it can be even through the Power Query, which I'm going to explain at the end of this session, but let me explain first. If you want like to activate the Power Query, so what you need to do, you just need to click here, anywhere, then above in the home page, you'll find something called Transform Data. Then you get to Transform Data, okay? Then in Transform Data, once you go here, it will take you to the data which you have it. So in the data now, you can just, this is my tables, as you can see here. So now I have this for GDT. So you can see here I have latitude, longitude. So I need to create another column similar to this one, which is covering the ranges which you need to create. For example, if you want to create a current a specific range, you can just give a formula. So how to do that? You have something here called add column above here. You can see home page, add column, and all these functionality will be covered in the last session. And here, for example, you have a conditional column. So you click on the conditional column. Now it's opening. You can just call it ranges, for example, ranges or whatever name. So you need to select the criteria column, the one you are going to use for criteria. For example, RSRP, right? Then here, for example, you need to give your ranges. So I will give particular 3 ranges, because I know that my data, for example, I will say if less than or equal to a specific value. Let's say here it's -105. okay, as an example. So I will say, I will just call this one Liz. I can just call it whatever I want, 105. Then I can add another one, also same, click here. I need first to, yeah, see this one was not clickable, so you need to click here. Then I say again, if less than or equal to, for example, minus 90, right? Then I will just call it from minus 90 to minus 105. Then the last one will be, can even add one here, or you can just directly go else give whatever value you want. So I can say else give me from minus 44 to minus 90. Okay, so let's try to see what we'll get. See, now it's directly created a column, and this column will containing these three country ranges, and if anything not covered here, it will come as a blank. So now it's being created. Now it's we have this kind of legend. So let's go now and apply this one. So once we are done with this additional column, which we did it from here, you just need to click on the home page. Then you just make close and apply here. Then once we go here, it will start refreshing the data because now additional column will be added to our data. So this is actually, it's done through the bar query. Before using it here, I'll just need to show another method, which is from the data table. This is using DAX. Also, this is will be covered in the next sessions, but quickly, data. So for example, here you can click and add a new column directly also. I will not go, I will just quickly cover it because this will be covered in more details. So I'll just call it, for example, range 2. Okay. There is a formula called switch, this switch. This expression, you can see here, it's asking you for expression. If you write true, so this is like giving him a condition saying if this condition, the value are going to give is true, then in this case, apply for a value which I needed. For example, here I'm asking for the table, which is column, which is called RSRB. So I'm saying, like, for example, less than minus 105. If it's like this, please give me this kind of formatting minus 105. And if again value 2, you can see it's asking you again, you can just ask RSRP. If it's less than, again, for example, minus 90, then give me C result 2 minus, we'll say minus 90 to minus 105. And this is like result 3. You can just give, for example, I will say now give me the remaining will be as minus 44 to minus 90. Let's try now, see what we get. So now, see, it's working as well. So this is another method, and also you have F formula, same as the Excel. Both will be covered in the next session. So now let's go back and use our data to convert it and get it as colors, as coverage as what you have seen. So now we can use the new legend, which you have it as the new columns, which being created as a legend here. So you can see now it's being created called ranges, ranges 2, and even you have this kind of RSRB ranges, which is the previous one I created. So I will use, for example, this one, RSRB ranges, or any one of those. Now click here. See, now it's plotting with 3 different colors, and you have minus 44, this three colors, right? So now you can modify these colors. First thing you can do, you can just click the map, and again, same as whatever you have done before, format your visual. And here, see, you have very few options. You have the bubbles. Then click the bubbles. Then first, you can just reduce the bubble size or increase it based on your needs or based on your requirements. So now I'm just reducing a little. I'll just make it like this. Then you have the color. Then in the color, you can see here, you can do it. For example, this one is a green. Okay. Then this one can be as here yellow. So I will select yellow. And last one as red. Okay. So now the colors is being created. This is one way around. I will also, there is another method for this particular one. I will explain it now. Now, assume now you would like to create one table like this one, which is controlling the map, as you can see here, with the legend, and you need to know how many samples you have and so on. So this is actually, it's not a thing, but this is require a manual step. Excel support Excel, but let me show you. And yeah, so now what I need to do, first of all, I need to create RSRB ranges. So I have the ranges here. I can just drag and drop it into table, normal table, as you can see. This one, for example, you are using, yeah, this one, I drop it here. Then again, you can get this particular table and drop it just to get the count. You can just drop it again. You can drop it again here twice. Then you can just get the count, right? So you will get the number of counts, as you can see here. Number of count. Let me just rename it. I'll call it this. Then again, you can drop it again if you want to get the ratio. You can just make again count, but this time you can just check new value. As you can see, show values as percent of grand total. So now this will be giving you the, as you can see here, the ratio. You can change this one as what you need. For example, I can rename it again. Just make it as percentage, for example. So now we have the ratio, and you can modify the formatting and so on. So now I need to modify this table to have this kind of coloring which matching my legend here. So you can do just click again on the table, go to the format. In the format part, you need to go cell element. In the cell element, you need to do like the background change. Okay, click it on here, and once it's on, you can just give it based on a specified column. And this is an extra step I need to show it to you. But let me first show what I have done before. So for example, you can give it even manual, as manual, for example, based on field value. This is field value. If you have a specified fields, for example, I have created before something called colors, which is external table called colors. If I look to this one, it might give me a values, but let me first, before going for this, to show, for example, based on rule. Again, you can apply what you have done before. For example, if this value is greater than a specific thing, you can give, but this is actually, it's condition based on numbers, so this will not be applicable for this table, especially if you are speaking about data survey ranges. So what we can do, this is also, there is a gradient. This is also will be based on number. For example, let's try here. For example, if I make it rule, this is, I want to make it like, for example, go here and make it based on RSRP ranges, right, from this particular table, RSRP ranges. If I click like this, it is gonna equal whatever I say 50. It will not be work with this, will not be dynamic. If I did like this, see, nothing you have got. Especially if you are speaking about a text, as mentioned here, you need to give it a specific color. So in this case, you need to create a support table with the color which you need. So let me first take you how to create the support table. Then you need to import this support table. After importing this one, we can create a conditional formatting based on the color given. So let me take you first that I will create this external table in Excel file. Then we'll come back to here. So now I have this particular Excel file. I would like to create a support table. So I will just call it RSRP ranges, same as whatever you have. Then we can give additional column called color. Okay. And this one actually, the values is what, minus 44 to minus 90, right? This is the values which you have it. The format here should be text. So now actually what we need to do, this is, we need to give the colors now here, just to give the colors. And this is the color, you need to give the color code because the Power BI will read it through the color code. So for example, I would like to give here a color. So I would like to do like that. For example, here, I would like to give here first one, which is green color, right? So if you click into the color, then you go to custom, for you get the green color. So maybe you can just, once you click here in the green, you can get this kind of code. You see this hex. You can get it here or even from external website, but I prefer it from here. And you need to do the same for the yellow, right? So you can import this table, or you can just take it, copy, Then you just go to the enter data. I will just add it as control V here, and I can rename it whatever I want. For example, I rename it as color control. So once you have this color control, this actually are SRP ranges. You should use it now from the new created table, which is called color control here. You can see it's called RSRP range. You should move it instead of this one, move it here. But the main problem that if you move this one now, it will not give anything. Like it will not be really effective as a color can change. If, for example, if I remove this one now, okay, it's working because if you look into this model thing, you have a relation created automatic between both of them. You can see this relation, and this data model I will be explaining in details. If you click into this one, these two tables now are being controlled by the RSRB ranges. RSRB ranges with RSRB ranges, that's why it's giving effect. But if I deleted this relation, see what will happen. Once you get back, see here, it's not giving anything. So this is the main idea also, which I need to explain it now, but this will be covered also in the middle part. So what you need to do, you need to create a relation between the 4GD table and the new created color control. So I'll just drag and drop this one to color ranges for now, and the explanation will be at the end of the session for the, but I'm just creating a relation to be able to control the colors through using this color control. So now going back, now to start counting normally, okay? The relation and modeling, this will explain the details. Now let's change the color of this. So once you want to change the color of this, you need to click here, format your visual, go again to this cell element. You have the RSRP ranges, the background. Then here you can now change this format style into field value. And in field value, you have this new created table, which is called color, which we give it. Then if you click it now, see what will happen. Now it's giving this particular range, and you can apply it for the remaining inputs, for example, for this RSRP as well. We have our table now created, and you can still remove this kind of total. Like if you search, you don't know where is this one. If you search this one, for example, you can just move it from here. You click off this one, you make it off, just remove the legend. So now we are ready. So now if you click this one, for example, see, it will just filter in your specified values. For this table which I imported, I always suggest to import it from here, because in case if you need to change it anytime, you can just change it in the external table. Once you change the external table, it will be applied directly here. But the problem that when you apply it as enter data, as we have done from here, it will not be editable. This is the main issue. So in case if you would like to do something like this, I suggest to import it through Excel table and keep it here and change within the Excel outside the Power BI whenever you need to change it. So this was the first part. Second part, about now it will be about the heat map. Okay. So now I will delete this one for now. Okay, but first before deleting this part, I just need to show you something. If you would like to go like zoom in, zoom out, which is just moving with the mouse, but also in the map control here, if you click here, you will have this click in the map. Then you will have here map settings. So you have the control, so you can enable the zoom buttons. So you'll have it here. So this like will help you to zoom in and out, and also you have this laser button. So if you click this one now, you can even go, and this is also one of the function which I'm going to cover, which you can see here mentioned as point selection flexibility in the map, and even exist excluding some points. For example, here is there some flexibility. If you click this one, and you, for example, you want to remove this area, or you want to select only this area from your drive, you want to like to select. So once I select this one, see it's making filter on all the other visualization. So now it's filtered the values, and we have it here. If you right click, for example, here and make exclude, then this one will be gone from the map. Now you don't have this values anymore. See, it's not existing. So this is in case if you want to filter out something, and this filter will be coming here. You can remove it anytime you want or return it back. So now I will just return it back. See, it's coming. So this is also another function. So this is almost we covered all except the heat map. So now let's go through the heat map. This time I would like to create this one using this kind of table, which is having points. just point and latency. Okay, this metric let's call latency. So I'll just drag and drop this one latitude here. Same for the longitude. I'll just keep latitude and longitude for now, just show you what it is. So you got it as a points now. So now if you go to the format your visual, so you have to click your map first for sure. And format your visual, you can find something called heat map, right? It's off already. So if you click it on now, it will give you this particular images. Now it's creating a map, and within this map there is an options. You can start creating your cell radius, the radius of the points which you need to aggregate. So initially what I will do, I just need to change the color just to make it more visible. So I will just, if the highest range, like okay with a red, this one as a yellow, the 0% to 50% will be as a green. Okay, so now what this map represent actually, let me zoom in slightly. Till now I just gave here the lat and long, right? So this is like accumulating the, you can say that the areas with highest number of points. If you increase the cell radius or reduce the cell radius, you can see here you have the radius options. For example, if it reduces this kind of things will red. So it's like you can say it's aggregating the count now because we didn't give any metric to control it. So now, for example, I'm just zooming out. Sorry, I'm reducing the cell radius. So once, as long as you're reducing the radius of the area of the heat map, this one will be reducing because you are reducing the radius of the points to be aggregated. So now, for example, you want to control it based on a specific KPI or metric, whatever, sales or users or latency or whatever. So you need to drag and drop this latency or this whatever metric you want into the bubble size. And within that, let's zoom in now and try, for example, now see the aggregation, it's sum. So if you change it to average, this one is expected to change because your aggregation is being changed now. You see, it's changing. So now let's do it like, let's first, yeah, do it like that. So also give it as maximum. It's again changing. Let's give it as, again, for example, count. See, it's changing. So you can control it through this kind of metric within the bubble size. But actually, there is a drawbacks about that, about this particular map. That the main problem here for the heat map, that whenever you zoom in, it will disappear. This is the main drawbacks here. So this is, you can just get it as a zoom out. This is one of the drawbacks of the standard PowerBI. That's why I give in the comments that this one is being limited for the zoom in and zoom out. And this is why it's, if you want to use a heat map, it's not really recommended to use this spot because you cannot zoom in. Like once you zoom in, everything will disappear. You don't have a control over this. So this is all the functions can be covered by this particular map. Now let's move to the second one, which is ARCGIS, which are having really wonderful functions. So now this is ARCGIS. The first part we're going to start with is again the coverage as we have done in the last previous one. So the ARCGIS actually can be created from here, from this ARCGIS map. So I will just click it here now, and it's coming now. Again, we'll start using, you can see like this one, you can have even an account with Enterprise or whatever, and you can sign in if you have ARCGIS online, and this can give you more functionality. But for now, I'm not going to use that. So now I would like to use the same data set, which is latitude for GD data. Again, see here, this is how it looks like: location, size, color, time, tooltips, having even more things here. So, but if you click here, it almost like have few things. Anyway, let's start one by one. So drag and drop longitude, latitude here. Now the here it's being now dropped here, right? So the color, we already explained how to create it. We added additional column, correct? So this additional column is called RSRB ranges. So you can drag and drop it here. Once you drag and drop it here, see, it's start giving some colors now, but it's not really looking into the like this, right? So first of all, let me give you, like, before going to the controlling the data, let's go take it one by one. How first to change the street maps here? If you click into this particular icon here above here, and you move into this, for example, you will find some options, and also here, and also here. Okay, there is one option missing here. So first of all, you need to make sure that all your options are being covered. So you need to go to format your visual. You have layer control, it's already on. This one usually by default is off. If it's off, you can see there is something missing here. And this is map tools. There is a zoom tool. Let's click this one to enable it. base map. This is what I'm looking for. See, once you click here, now it's coming as this one. So now let's do like that. This is in case if you want to change the base map. For example, you want to make it open street, so you need to click here. First, you need to enable it, then you want to click here, then for example, change it to open street map like that. So now it's giving like as you can see here now. So let's now click this one. So this was the first part for the street maps. Now the customized legend already covered in the previous, it will be exactly the same. You need just to do exactly the same thing. Now about the ranges control, like ranges control, actually this is also for the exact Excel. You can just increase the ranges or based on the formula. And customized legend already done. So now let's see how to format this one to keep it exactly the same as this. So you have here different options. You can just go, for example, for this area, which is called view a list on the map. Okay. Again, and this part, it will not be enabled by default. You need to go to the map layers and enable this part. Once you enable this part, you have the three dots here, layer options. You need to click it. This first one, symbology. Once you click it, actually, if you didn't drag and drop from the beginning, the colors here, this part will not be appear. Just take sure of this. Make sure that once I drag down this one, without that, if you remove this now, this one, see, it's not here anymore. So take care of this part. So I will drag and drop it again. And now let's modify. See, now we have three options: heat map, location. If there is no colors, it will be like that. So I need to click here, style options. And then with style options, now I have this particular area which is showing my colors. So initially, I would like first to change the color. So I will just click here. I would like to fill it with green. Okay. Now we are done with the green outline. I don't need any outlines. So I'll just close it. Okay. This is the first color. So let's go back. Edit symbols. Okay. Now the first one is being done here. But you can see it's very big because I didn't reduce the sample size, but it's okay. So let's click here again. Go to the remaining option. You can even change it to circle, whatever you want, and even have another shape. So it's the size first, let's make it 3, for example. So now I will click OK. Now it's done. See, it's reducing a lot now. Now change this one to yellow. Again, you can get here. You have the fill. Make it into yellow. Once you make it yellow, again, close this one and go back to the shape. You can change the size again to 3. So you need to do it one by one for the legend you give it. So the last one will be again fill. I will just give it as red color. Again here, outline, I will switch off the outline, and again I will give it as 3. So you can control it based on whatever you need. So now see if you went down here, see now we have it same as this one. The only difference is that the color is kind of, I give another color, and the size of the bins is smaller actually. So this is the first option here. I would like also to show you some options that this one actually can be changed as if you click into symbology, you can also change for example the coloring here. It's like the way it's portrayed. This is a standard in case if you would like to use something of their own legend. Okay, so this one will give a legend based on your selection. So you can do it manually, or even you can do it as we just have shown here. And in case if there is other, you can just hide it from here. So this is the first part of how to control the colors for this part. Now let's go through the second part, which is related to the heat map. Okay, let's related to the heat map. Draw again the same map, which is ARCGIS. It's here, as you can see, for PowerBI. Then I will be using another dataset now, which is for the points. Okay, so the points you can just drag and drop. So you need first to take the latitude to latitude, and longitude to longitude. For now, let's keep it like that for now and see what we can get. So now this is all the points again. So directly you can first go to here, expand map. And again, because I close it off, you need to make sure that everything is enabled. Layers is enabled, and also map tools. You can also add it again and change. Just make sure everything is there here, right? So again, you need to click here, which is called view. Then you can just click layer options. You have the symbology here. If you click it again, you'll find that you have this kind of heat map and also this location single symbol. So let's go through single location, just show you what it has. Just simple one. It's just showing you like if you want to change the shape, also the color, same of what you have for this particular points. For example, I don't want outline, so you see this outline white one, it's disappear. And this is in case you won't like to change the color, for example, to blue. So you'll find the dots is being changed, and again you can change the size of those, for example, by make it 5. So you find that these dots will now be reducing inside this map if I change it to 5 or whatever. Yeah. No, sorry, this is the transparency for the colors, but the size will be from here. So if I make it 5 now, this is supposed to reduce now outside. Let's make it 2, also to be more clear. See, now it's reduced a lot outside here. So this is just to see you how to can control. Now, in case if you want to turn it into heat map, you just need to click into the heat map here. And now into the heat map, it's, yeah, you can just make style option. Now, this is the main point. The style map actually is giving you standard colors. You cannot control the color. This is one of a small limitation which you have in this part, that the color itself, they are giving you standard colors. So you cannot like give a specific colors you like. You just need to go through their own colors which they are giving to you here. So now see, this is how you can control this part, as you can see outside here. Like, let's make it big and to make it more clear for everyone. See, for example, now I'm making like this. See what will happen. Yeah, so this is how the one way around if you would like to control your colors. So now see, okay, giving more advantage for the yellow because I'm in yellow. So this is also area of influence, as you can see. And the color ramp can be again changed from here or there or whatever. So yeah, this is actually straightforward, but also let me show you something here. If you go down, more down here, this is the area radius, like how much you want to increase or reduce or whatever. See, this is the radius of the dots. Like, for example, if you increase the radius, it will aggregate more areas. So if you make it like, for example, you find that like this not very clear. So yeah, this is how you increase the radius. Now let's check like, does it have also same thing as metric? So I think yes. If you drag and drop the latency here into the size, let's try to see what will happen. I will go again to the heat map and let's change the control again. Make it, for example, again like this. See, now let's make it average. This is also one of the issues that every time you're changing this one, it will again ask you again and again to change. But this is in case you would like to control it using your a specified metric. But this is also one of the drawbacks of this map. If you click here now, see, it will again go back to the normal one. And again, you need to go and change it. So this is also one of the other points which I would like to highlight to you. So this is actually how you can quickly create a heat map using this ARCGIS. It's more flexible in terms of zooming. Like zooming, it will not directly disappear as the previous one, as this one. It will just stay till a while. See, you still have a chance to see your data when you zoom in, not compared to the other one. The other one, which is standard map, it was disappearing quickly. So this is also one of the advantage which you have it here. Yeah, so this is actually options if you want to lock the extent and so on and so on. This is the location type you want. But this options, usually it's not like the standard map. All the things can be changed from here. You can control most of their inputs from here. And I will go through the remaining stuff now. So now let's speak about the clustering point of view. If you want to like to make clustering, what it means by clustering. Okay, first of all, let me return this one again to points. Okay. So now let's cover the clustering part. So let me first make it full screen to try to show it like a more clear vision whenever you're working now. So I already have the map. I drag and drop latitude and longitude for now. So what is the idea of clustering? Clustering, for example, if you would like to try to cluster some of the points into one area and just, for example, check a particular metrics, which is, for example, latency. So I would like to uh, make a cluster for these 4 points and check what is the overall average or sum or count based on the aggregation you're giving for this metric, for example, for this latency or for any other metric, for example, total sales or whatever. So I click and do this in size for now, and let's see. Before doing that, let's first go to the clustering part. How to do clustering in general. So you need to click here and do this part. Again, then the 3 dots. Once you did the 3 dots, you have the clustering. Second one. Once you did the clustering, you just need to enable it. And this can be controlled. See now, once I done that, you will find that number of points is being reduced. See? It will even give you a count. If you click this one here, See you that this cluster represents 7 features. Means it's like aggregated 7 points inside this one, but it's not giving anything here inside as information. Only telling you that this cluster having 7 values. So if I drag and drop the latency now here into the size, okay, or better to put it into the tooltips, okay, put it into the tooltips, and again look at the cluster now. See now what we'll have. This cluster represent browse features. So now drag and drop, you have the cluster, drag and drop the latency, for example, into the size, but the main point that it will be disabled again, so we need to enable it again. So I will enable it again now. See now, if you click into that part now, it will you this cluster represents 7 features. The average value of the latency within this cluster is 401. Actually, this is not the average, it is the sum based on your aggregation, but it's telling you at the end the average. So this thing is a so if you change this value, I'm expecting inside here to average. It will still saying average, but the value itself will change. If you look into this now again, let's make it calculated first before we give anything. See, before it was 400, now it's changed to 152 because I change aggregation to average. So this can be done for everything. So this is like it's still using all the cluster, but I need to make it like this. Now enable it. So in case if you would like to increase, for example, the cluster radius to increase the more points, the dots will be increasing, but you can see the count of samples here is increasing. So this one having 8 and 8. So let's make it to the maximum and see what will happen. See now the dots reduced a lot. So if you click into this, because it's all being aggregated now, average latency, for example, is 154. And in case if you would like to change it to, for example, squares, you can just go back here. See here, it's giving just some information that giving you like the size, see the number of features you have. This will be size if it's greater than 21, 16, and so on. This is like something you can also play around. You can see like from here as just a reference. So now just I would like to change this kind of single points, this points into squares instead of having into squares. Why this is like in case if you would like to have a continuous check like to merge it all together. So I need to go back to the cluster region to make sure it's still on. It's still on. So now if I make like that, see now, zooming out, it will looks like they are now clustering all together. But again, it's not really very symmetric or compared to the Power BI, compared to the ARCGIS or MAPBOX. But this is a way around we can do it as a clustering point of view. And even you can give it different colors using whatever you have. If in case you have a colors, you can just drop it and drag it here. So to give different colors for the ranges here which have in the cluster. So one of the function which you have it in general in this map. So let's now check this kind of related points for the point selection as we have shown before, and even if you want to exclude some points. So for example, assume you want to exclude this particular area, so you can click here. So this is like giving you more function for the flexibility of selection. For example, the previous map was showing only squares, right? This one now can be or rectangles as like can be circles, can be rectangle, can even be a polygon selection. If you click here, freehand selection or even polygon selection. So let's first take this one as this one, for example, is rectangle. See what we'll get. You just need to click shift. Okay, you need to click shift, then move your mouse. So if you click now here, you can even exclude this one from here as we have done before. See now the voice has been excluded, and again it will be coming into the filter. So this is actually having more sophisticated type way of selection. You can just make it as we mentioned based on polygon, for example, here. So you can even close this one. So if you have this still selection of I just make it as a polygon. For example, I will make it like this. Then I will give as a polygon. So now you can just draw your polygon here. Like this is also one way around. Now it's being selected. You can still exclude, for example, all these points within the polygon. See, now it's being excluded as well. Now going back here, so you can remove it. So this is actually one of the things also. Okay, now let me show you the interesting part about this map as well. Which actually information you can get it from if it's being uploaded in the public web. For example, if you have postal codes is being uploaded, you can search, you might find some interesting information. So let me, for example, give you here some example about this part. So you need to go here for this particular area, this one, okay, which is add context to your data to enhance its meaning, okay. So now if you look into this part, we can add even some reference layers. And this is like if it's being uploaded to the web or even uploaded especially to ARCGIS and you make it public, someone having ARCGIS on account. So if you want to this part, for example, the first part you need to, I'm zooming in this particular map. So the first part you need to go to the filters. In the filters, you need search within the map area. Okay. So now once I give any search, if you click first, like see, it's giving you 10,000 items here. So for example, in this area, let's call it, for example, call Mecca, this area, okay? If I click Mecca, see, it will give you some information here about this area. So this is, people have uploaded this by themselves. So if you have an account, you can do the same. So you can, for example, click here to see what kind of information you have. If you click here in this part, see now it's just showing you that this area will be highlighted. Someone created this polygon and it's created by, this is by name, the owner, and this is the date so it's being created, and this is public actually. So if you make add to the map, see now it's coming as you have seen now. It's coming like this, creating this one. So this actually can even find for many countries the postal codes or the zip codes, depend on the area. Postal. So if someone is uploading, you can find it, and if you want to confirm the information, you can just click here. It show you. For example, this is not for our area. This is for different area. So this is also one of the interesting things in this particular map. And now let's move to the third map. And also there is more other options, but I just try to cover what we really need. But there is a limitation about that. For example, if you want to import sectors or the sites with the sectors and so on, this is also not like applicable. I think it might be done as ArcGIS as well, but I didn't try it. But it doesn't have a direct way to do it, to import the sites. So now let's move to the third map, which is, I think, will be the most important, which is the MAPBOX. I will be ending by Azure map, but actually Azure map is not, it's a good one, but it's not really recommended because it doesn't have the street maps and so on. So now let's move to the MAPBOX. So now let me take you into the last one, which is the MAPBOX visual. I will not be covering the Azure map because this one is not, it doesn't have any street map, so it's not really useful for our requirement. But it's still it's good in case if you want to use it, and it's easy to use. In case if you need a video separate for this one, just let me know in the comments. So now let's go through the Mapbox visual. Let me first, this is like how it looks like. Okay, so in case you would like to know, this is just called Mapbox visual, and explain at the beginning that you should import it from this get more visual. So let me now take you through the settings of this map. Okay. So here we just need to click this map. So if you go to format your visual, you'll find a lot of options down here, many things. But the main important point that this settings, this particular map, if you didn't give this access token, it will not work. This access token require registration for something called Mapbox Visual. I will also drop the link in the video description. As you can see here in the right, the bottom right, this is showing the website, and I will take you through also the how to register and so on. This can be quickly done. But however, if you don't have this access token, this map will not work at all. So the first thing you need to do, it's even explaining here, as you can see, explaining what you need to do. You need to click into the Mapbox access token, then you get it. It's for free. And once you give it, now you can start working. So this is, so the first action, the thing I need to show to you, that in case if you would like to change the map background, okay? So you have, for example, map style, you have light, as you can see here. This will be changing like that. If you change it to dark, it will be changing. So this is like, it's giving you different options for the changing the map background and so on. So before jumping to all the other points which we have it here, I would like first you to take you like how to register, and after you register what you need as a first action point, which is the access token, because there is another requirement when you are speaking about other function, for example like creating polygon and sector creation, you need to do something extra on this website. So let me quickly take you through the website, then I will show you from you can get access token. So actually, this is the website used for us to create the account. It's called www.mapbox.com. So what you need to do, if you have the account, you just need to log in. If you don't have, you just need to go and sign up. Once you sign up here, You just need to give the information which you need. You can even give your work mail or even personal mail or whatever, and this will give you a free account to start work on it. So now let me sign in. Then we can go through this, how to get this kind of access to it. So once you sign in, this page will come in front of you, as you can see here. You can see this is the overall page. This is the account. And once we go to this, you'll find in the home page something called access token. So this is the link which you need to get it in the beginning, which is called default public token. Even you can create another, but this is usually what we can do. So you just need to copy here. And once you copy it, you need to go back to the map and add this one to the access token. So let's go back to the Power BI. So now we are back to the Power BI. Now let's try to build something like coverage and so on from scratch, as we have seen before. So first you need to build click the MAPBOX visual as shown here. Once you have it here, so now which data you're going to use? Let me this one here, take the right little bit. So the fields which I'm going to use this for GDT, which I use it to the previous chart. So I need to drag and load latitude here. Then I need to drop the longitude. As you can see, initially I just giving you the steps to do, which I just showed to you, how to create this kind of MAPBOX account and so on. And even it will give you some explanation that you need to give the access token here, you need to add the lateral log. So I need first to give this kind of access token. So you can see up under the format visual, then you have the VS settings, visualization settings. Then this one you need just to give the access token, which I just showed you. Once you get the access token, now the maps will be start working. See, now it's start plotting the points. Now we need to convert this one into ranges, and after converting to ranges, we need to show how we can modify to give like a clear figure, for example, for the coverage and so on. So, so the first part we need to do here, you can see this circles thing. So under the circle, you have the radius. So you can just reduce, for example, the bubble size of those. You can see this is, you can just reduce the size of the bubble, and here is they can give like even color ranges by two different methods, even by clicking here, for example, and start giving a color. For example, say that if the minimum is 105, for example, so I need you to give me, for example, red color. Okay, if it's, for example, the center is, let's say the center is minus 90, so I need to have a yellow color. If the maximum is minus 44, I need to have a green color. So now it's still working. Let me highlight this one and this. Yeah, see, till now it didn't do anything, because actually what is the main idea? That in this part you need to give your RSRP, right? And the color settings here. So you need to drag and drop the other RSRP. You need to drag it and drop it here. And once you drag it out, for example, you can give the metric you would like to do. So I want to give average. So once you go back to the settings, now we have here, we can start modifying, start to get more clear here. So for example, I can get this, like if you click this blur, see how it's looked like. So if you disable this one at all, it will be even more clear here. And opacity, you can, for example, play around it, reduce it as much as you can, or increase it based on your requirement. So I will make, for example, 100, like that. This is a stroke like between the layers. So now it's giving gray around each circle. So for example, I can just make it, keep it as it is, or change or the opacity to, for example, to make it 0. See, now it's more clear. Or if you make it 100, this means it will be more gray around the circles. So I will just make it 0 for the opacity of this stroke. Then this is actually the main thing here. And the main point here that the main issue here that it's being limited by 3 ranges only. You cannot have any different. Like for example, if you want to create 4 different legends, you cannot. Like if you're using RSRB, it will start giving manual, as you can see here, given the colors in between those 3 colors. This is one way around. So actually, this is one of the limitations, that you cannot really control it in what you need exactly. But still, I think it's fine. As you can see, it's giving different color ranges here based on the minimum, center, and maximum. Even like in between, for example, neg 90 and neg 105, it starts giving you, which is greater than neg 90, orange color, which is neg 97. So this, you can play around with that if in case you want to deal. And there is another way around, but this is actually the main limitation about it, that you cannot control the color. For example, I give, remember a ranges which showing the ranges of the raster B. We can use this one in the color, but the main limitation that I couldn't find how to change the color, so I don't think so we can change that. Maybe so this is the main limitation. So the best way around to use the normal one, just to directly give the color and control it by this kind of limits inside instead of creating a column. And still this can be controlled by the previous customized legend which we give it. As you can see here, it will start giving the ranges, like exactly start filtering, but the coloring will be for sure different slightly compared to here because this one is giving different kind of colors. So but still can be controlled by the same what we have done before. So this was the first part about that. Let's me show you like more inputs about the map. Okay, there is one good points here. It's about the zoom, the search button here. You can see the search button here. Actually, this button, for example, if you want to jump for a particular area, you can just search for some dam in Mexico. So it will take you into Mexico, for example. See, it's flying into Mexico. Back directly because if you click here, you have something called auto zoom. Auto zoom. So if I click this out now, it should see like if I did like that, then I open it again, it will directly go to the area which you are plotting something inside it. So this is like auto zoom as well. This is another option. And this search thing, you can even close it from here, geocoder. If you close it from here, so it will disappear. You can keep it based on your own needs as well. So let me close it now. Okay, the point which I also need to explain it, it's about regarding the point selection flexibility in the map, and also if you would like to exclude some points from the map. For example, I would like to exclude this particular area. Actually, this is not cannot be done from the map as I highlighted here. This is one of the limitations which I have in the map. So first of all, the flexibility of the map selection is fine. You can just use shift and just shift and move your mouse. It will be like rectangle selection, so you can select. This is if you'd like to create, for example, as shown here, particular area to see, or also control the existing metrics if you have another chart or visualization. So this one is as flexibility is fine. And there is another two method. It can be lasso tool, example like that. See, do like that, also same, or you can even have this kind of polygon selection, polygon tool. This is also a good one. So if you click here, again, it's selecting and so on. But the main limitation that you cannot filter out. So now let's speak about the heat map, how to create heat map in MAPBOX, and also to tell you what is the advantage which you have it here. So initially you have this kind of points within the map. So I would like to change it to heat map. So I will go to again, click the map, go to the format your visual. And within here, you'll find this kind of heat maps. So you just need to enable the heat maps. So it will come initially like that because the radius is very high. So if you reduce your radius, you can see now it will be more clear as a visualization, even if you zoom in. And this is one of the advantages that as long as you're zooming in, is giving more clear, you can even zoom in and it's also showing the area clearly. For example, this particular area having the highest density of number of samples also here. And you can control the intensity or even opacity. For example, from here, you can make it 50. So it will be showing like that. And you can see the points start showing inside, even the points. And also this is one of the good ones. I will highlight to you why. For example, I will make it 80. And you can see the points is inside here. So let me change the color. Control the color. For example, I'll make it clear. I'll make the maximum as red. Okay. Then here in the between, I'll make it as yellow. Okay. So now why it's good, like because also it's as a visualization, it's more clear that showing the highest number of points is within the area. So the heat map is actually reflecting your actual things. So this also you can make it more clear, so reducing or changing the color of these kind of points and so on. And also, for example, if you want to reflect, because this is showing the heat map of the count of the highest density of the samples. So for example, you can take, for example, the latency and put the latency within the size, make it, for example, as a count. So you'll see that it's more accumulated inside here. So if you zoom in, it will be more accumulated. But the main point that as long as you are reducing your heat map intensity, as you can see here, sorry, the opacity. So this kind of the heat map itself is we are losing this part. So like it's okay if you would like to make it as heat map normal one. You can keep it without the points, or you have into points. You just need to reduce the intensity, the opacity, just to make it more clear with the points inside. This is actually one of the advantage that the zooming in is fine. Also, we can plot it with along with the points inside. But the main disadvantage of that map, that for example, if you want to control it based on a particular metric, this is not like applicable. Just controlling the heat map is being created based on the number of points within the map. It's like, for example, if one area having the highest number of density points, it will be highlighted as red. So like usually for the other maps, as we highlighted before, that you can control, for example, based on the metric aggregation, average, maximum, whatever. So it's chart showing. So if you're having some LRSRB, you can start doing that as metric. But still, this also can, if you want to do it like instead of heat map, you can do it the other way around, which is the circles, and try to make aggregation and so on. Same like for the coverage plots which you have done. So now for the heat map we are done. Now let's move forward to the next one, which is related to the clustering. Okay, now let me show you that how to make clustering. Like as you mentioned before, clustering means if you have some particular area and you want to cluster and give a particular aggregation, average count, then you check the value within the particular cluster. This still can be done. Here it's applicable. So how it can be done, just click the map, then you go to the format your visual. Under this part, we can even disable the circles or move it or keep it on. Let's keep it on for now. You have this cluster option. If you click this cluster option, now you can see it starts showing some circles, which is this is your aggregation. So what it means by that? So initially, if you look into this, you have the aggregation level. So for example, this circles is saying 5. This means this particular area, it's having a radius of 50. It's having 5 samples. Okay, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is this area. Okay, it's having 5 samples. That's why it's counting. This one, for example, it's showing at 3 points. You can remove the points as well, the circles. So this is how it means actually. This is, for example, circles of 12. So let's try to increase the radius a little bit. So see, it's the number of circles will reduce, but the number of counts inside for sure will keep increasing. So if you keep increasing, see, okay. So that's why you can see it keep increasing, and you can even control the color for the minimum and the maximum ranges, and here we're giving you a count of that. And the other options we have it here. This is the radius of the circle. Increase if you want to increase it or reduce it. For example, circle itself, not the radius. So circle, if I look into that, if I'm just reducing, the count will remain the same, but the circle size will just reduce. And this is the round here. Let's return it back to 10, just to make it more, or 20 even. Make it more bigger. And here, this one, you can even change it to 10. Okay, so you'll find that this kind of blur is being reduced. So I will turn it, for example, to 40. So see how it looks like now. And this is surrounding just from that point of view. If you want the surrounding area to be, for example, as red, so you find the surrounding circles is showing as red now. This is also one of the things we can control. And now let's try to change the aggregation function. So for example, he's saying 22. This is telling you that you have 22 samples at this particular area. So for example, if I make it average, so this will completely change. It will give you the average value. So the average latency here for those samples is 49. The average latency here is 57, and so on. And even you can reduce the maximum value. For example, you can make it as red. So you can see some circles start changing to red. And here is your ranges, which you have it here. And still this can be controlled by the clustering, and it's fine. This is actually, it's a good one. But the main important point also that I would like to highlight, that whenever you want to make a cluster, you want to highlight which one you need to really to use it as a clustering point. For example, here I give a metric as latency, so you can give clustering for any other thing, and you can keep this samples inside, or you can remove it as a circles. I was just keeping to make it more clear for you. So if you disable now, you will still having the circles here, but without the samples anymore, without the circles. So this is how it's being clusters within your area. So now for the cluster bar, we are done. Now let's move to the next part, which is the group length, and see what we can do. And this is will mainly be covering about how to create polygon and sector selection, for example, sectors, and you can use that to control to link it with your datasets and to control whatever visualization you have. So let's move to the final part. And this part will be like also through the web MAPBOX. This is will be showing that. So let me first cover it in separate, and let's cover the more details. So now we are done with the clustering part. So now let's go to the last part here for this session, which is related to the polygons and sector creation, which can be done through this format visual, as you can see under something called group length. actually, and this is what we are going to do. But before doing that, let me just show you quickly what kind of functions we have it here and how to do that. Okay. So if you enable that now, you find that this one figure will disappear at all, okay, completely. See, it's saying here that this is just giving explanation. Without going for that, I just need to explain quickly how that's being done. So once you enable this choropleth, for example, if you got here and then the choropleth, you can find that if you're moving down here, you have some aggregation, you have something like that. So skip it all. Let's go down here into the level data level 1. So this is what you need to do. So usually we create something called custom tile set. If you create this custom tile set, it will be asking me for tree information. If I plot it, give these tree information, this will start plotting my polygons or even the site or sectors or whatever. So what is the main idea of that part? If you remember this MAPBOX website, in this MAPBOX website, we need to create the sector or the polygon in for example, in a KML file or JSON file from whatever map info or Google Earth or even from QGIS. Then we need to upload it to this particular website. Once you upload it, you need to get these three information. The first one related to the link, which is linking to your data, which the file which you are going to upload. Then just about the tile set creation, the source name of the file. Then you will link it to your data set. For example, here I have the site ID. So I would like, for example, to plot the site and sector at the azimuth. So I will just give, for example, the cell name or sector ID here, which is matching with the same name. So the first part we need to do here to get our sectors or polygons created, we first need to go and create it in the QGIS or any other tool. Once you create it, you just need to export it into a JSON file, which I have it already ready with me. Then I will start uploading to the MAPBOX. So the first part, now I will skip the part with the QGIS. I think most of you are aware about it, or the Google Earth. Just you should have the KML file. So now our JSON file, it's recommended, and it's recommended to be JSON. So now I'll remove the JSON file to the MAPBOX. So let's move to the MAPBOX to show you how this can be done. So now I'm back to the MAPBOX. So now I would like to show you how you can create that. So the first part you need to do that we speak about the default public token now. So this is we don't need it anymore because it's already we give it to the link to make the MAPBOX working. So now you just need to go up in the top right here, then click, then go to something called your studio. Okay, so once you go to the studio, this will be taking you this studio MAPBOX info. See now in the studio, there is different things, styles, resources. So we need to look into the resources. You have something called tile sets. You need to click it. Once you have the tile sets, this information I have uploaded before. So what you need to do, you just need to do and click new tile set here and above here. So you click new tile set, then see it's saying, asking you to drag and drop the file, which is, this is a format that you need to use. Even CSV can be done and converted into vector and tiles. So actually the main idea, as I told you, that it depends on which file type you want to link it to your database. So now I would like to upload this sector for my cluster or whatever. So I need to go and select. I can even drag it or just select file. So let's select it. So actually here is I already created the file which is called eb JSON. This is .json. So okay, so I will just click it. Now I'll just make confirm. See, as you can see in the bottom right here, it's being uploaded now. So now once this one is done, it's showing like succeed and will give you the time as it's shown here. And now this is my data. So now what you need to do, you just need to click it here. And once you click it, now it will be opening and this will be showing your data. This is I uploaded sector wise. So you can see in the bottom left here, there is a map. So if you click this one now, it will take you to the area where you uploaded. So this is where I'm uploaded. I uploaded this kind of sectors, and I would like to take this kind of sectors within my map now. As you can see in the left here, this is information which you have it. If you have more information, we'll be covering here. So I have azimuth, I have antenna bandwidth, sector ID, site and technology. So actually, the first thing you need to do, as I mentioned, that these three inputs need to be given to the Power BI. The first one, it is the source name, the link name. So if you click up in the three dots here above, you can see here, there's three dots. You will find a tile set ID. So you need to copy this tile set ID. Then you go to back to the Power BI. So once you are back to the Power BI, as you can see here, you just need to give, you click the map, then the first thing you need to give under vector tile URL level 1. So you have to keep this part, which is MAPBOX. So you just need to add your data, which I just take it from there, from here. This is the first part. Now we need to go back to the source and take the second information, which is called the source layer name. What is the source layer name level 1? So actually the source layer name is this part, which is EB24, this name. So you need just to copy, then go back and again give it here. Then the last part is asking for, and this is you should take care of it. It's asking you, for example, what kind of vector probability level you would like to link. So for example, here I have different information. So for example, I would like to use site ID, or I need to use sector ID or whatever. So I will take this one and just copy it here. Okay. Once I have done that, see what will happen now. Now I need to go back, but let's first see. This is actually the main point I would like to highlight, that this is must have the same name as here. A different name is different, might conflict. So now let's start building our visual. So we are already give all the needed information here. As we mentioned, it was again quickly. It was 3 main inputs. You need to get it from there, which is the URL. Then you give the source name. Then you give the link which you use it, or the property which you would like to use. So here I have site ID, so I have to use that spot. So now we need to add the location and color fields to use this choropleth map. So we need again to go back to the add data to your visual. So once I click here, I already gave the latitude and longitude, and without that, you will not see any options here. So to get these options, you have to drag and drop first latitude and longitude. So now I need to drag and drop into the color and location as mentioned here. So the location you should use the parity which you give it already within your data, your inputs of the map box. Drag and drop this one to the location, and the technology should be, or whatever other thing can be in the color set. So once you have to do that, let's see what will happen. As you can see here, this now is plotting your sectors, and you can even control it through selecting the sites. And if you select it manually, this will keep controlling your data set. If your site ID is linked to any KPI, so this can filter any very easy. And the good point also, you can select multiple sites based on polygon or area selection or whatever your needs. This can be done still. Like for example, I'm selecting now these 2 sites. This can be done, or 4 sites, as you can see here. As you can see, it's 2 points. Now I'm selected 2 sites, so this can give you the information of KPIs of this particular site. And this is one of the advantage of the MAPBOX compared to the others, that we have more control over uploading sector and layers, even though it's still using the third map party tool as we shown in this MAPBOX thing. So yeah, that's it for the maps part. Now I will take you through the modeling and data modeling and DAX. So let's see. In this part, we're going to speak about the modeling and DAX. Actually, modeling is like how, for example, if you have different data inputs or different data sets, I would like to create a relation between all of them. So we need to build a model which to link all these data sets together. For example, 4G list, same a 4G table, and for example, the site list table, in order to be able to create a visualization in common between these two tables. So we need to build a modeling, and this is very crucial, and you need to understand the really in details. So we'll be covering this part, and we'll try to make it more easy for you to start building your modeling very easy. And the second part will be covering, it's about the DAX. DAX is just simply the programming language for Power BI, which is being used to calculate or compute some values using some formulas. So initially we'll be starting with the DAX part. So as we mentioned, DAX is referring to data analysis expression. This is the name of DAX. And this is a programming language which is used for Power BI to create something called calculated columns and measure. Calculated columns and measure I will be explaining in the next slide, just to explain what is the difference between both of them. And this is the main mathematical equations we are going to cover in today's video. So first of all, as you mentioned, that the DAX is being used to compute values using something called calculated column or measure. So simply calculated columns, and calculated columns means if you have a data set here, so this will be building within this data set. So you can just add a new column here in this by clicking here, for example, and go and add a new column. This can be done from here as a new column, or from here, for example, from this particular area above here, or you can even go to this data set and just again right click and make a new column here. And once we make a new column, this will be referring, for example, I would like to calculate uh, as example, I would like to calculate this users. I would like to divide it by 10, for example. So I will refer directly to the column which I need to divide it by 10. So it's called 4G connected users. So I can, for example, divide it by 10 directly. So this will be give my value. So the calculated column, it will something built within the tables which you're having. And the main drawbacks from this part, you will need it. Sometimes you will need it. It's must. But the main part of that is computing from your memory, because it's being calculated every time you are opening the Power BI. The calculation is being considered within the table. So if you have a very big data set, this it will be utilizing from your memory and from your RAM. So this is the calculated column. While the measure, it can be created, but it will not be calculated. For example, you can have right click here in the dataset and just calculate, for example, new measure. And so once we make the new measure, I can again refer to can calculate the same formula which I have mentioned in the column. But for example, I will call it, let's say, if I refer to the column, it will not refer, because actually it's like iteration. As we mentioned here, it doesn't look into row context, because row context, it doesn't have a table. So all the time, this must wrap up the column and aggregation function. What it means by this, for example, I'm looking to get the connected user, right? So I have to give a aggregation file. If I'm looking to sum the users, then I will make sum, for example, the users, and refer to the column which I'm looking for. For example, 4G connected user column. And you can do any other mathematical equation. For example, you can divide it by 10 and so on. So now you have created the connected user. Let's call it connected user. Some user measure. Okay, so this is actually taking the same, but the main point, once you create this part here, let me show you how it will looks like. Now it's coming here within this 4G, and you can see there is a calculator here. This calculator means it's a measure, it's not a column. So this one actually will not take any from your RAM. It will just use from the CPU, because now it's not being taking effect. It will just being calculated once you make the query time. As mentioned here, measures are computed at the query time only. So for example, if I drop it here, now, see, now I'll get this particular value here. Let's make it, for example, as a car, just to show you what we'll get. So I will be getting one value now. The main idea actually with this part, it will be more clear about the difference between both of them. But this simply what it will do, it will iterate through all the row by row. It will iterate through row by row and give you the summation of all of them. So this is the main idea. But now, as I mentioned, it will not taking from memory. But since this one is not being within the table, there is no information then, so it cannot be used, for example, as a legend or a slicer, because there is no information for it. So if you give, for example, F formula to give some ranges, cannot be used by the measure. It must be within the column. To give some ranges, for example, for the traffic category greater than 1,000, 2,000, and so on, or even the sales category high, low, medium. So this cannot be used as a slice or legend, as long as, because it's not being included within the table information. While the calculate column, for sure, it can be used because it's already included here. And as aggregation, this one will be more accurate. For example, if you calculating, let's assume that you have your downing the user speed, for example, equal the traffic, sum of the traffic divided by the sum of the time spent during the speed download. So if you take this one as a column, so you will have at the end, for example, you want to take the average speed, it will take the overall average for all the speed, and while this one will take the sum of all the traffic, then divided by sum of the time, so we'll have aggregated values, so it will be more accurate. Let's go forward, and you will understand this part in details in case you don't understand it. So let's now try to cover the main use formulas for DAX, and this will give more clear image for you whenever you move forward. So the first part we're going, it's about the math and some statistical function. So initially, I will be covering this average or the iteration functions, average or sum or even divide, or you can say average and sum, and also this kind of count x and so on, count and count x. So we have two types, something called normal iteration and normal iteration x. So what is the difference between them? So this normal iteration, which is sum or average or even count, this like will iterating through a particular column and give you the final value. What it mean by this? So assume now you have your data set here, and for this particular data set, you would like to calculate the sum of the total traffic for this particular day. Okay, for this particular day. So in this case, you can just use the sum formula, right? And it will, as I mentioned to you, like we have two times something called sum x and sum. So the sum, it will just take this, the total sum of this particular column. It will just go through this column and give the total. While the sum x, you can use some expression or can add some formulas. You can tell them, for example, I would like to calculate the traffic, but not only the traffic, I need to calculate it for a particular, for example, technology for this TDD, not for FDD. So you can give expression for some X to give, for example, the traffic for TDD, or even you can keep it the same for all as what you have in the sum. So let's give an example now. Let me calculate a column just to show you the difference between both of them. So in this particular column, for example, I would like to calculate the total traffic for each day. So I will just give the dates first in the row. I'll give dates. So now I would like to calculate the total traffic for these 3 days. So what I need to do now, I would like to build my measures. So it's just something I would like to tell you about how to organize your data, especially we are speaking about this calculating formulas or DAX. So first, you need to create a table and just try to put all your formulas within this table. This is just to organize it and to know where is your DAX formulas, where you calculated your formulas. So I will just give here free data. It's called create a new table. I'll just click it. So I will just call this one, for example, my KPIs, and I will just give here any formula. Okay, I'll load it. This is just like you don't really need it, but this is in case of calculating the formulas distributed everywhere here. Everywhere here, you just need to calculate and organize your data. So within this, it's coming as a table now. I can just go for this. I need to calculate my measure here. So I will right click and now calculate a measure. I don't want it at the table, the column. I just need to calculate a measure. And as we mentioned, our example, first one, would like to speak about, for example, the sum. Okay, I would like to get the total sum. So as you can see above here, now the formula is coming above here. Can take this one down more. Let's pick it back. It's very much. So now, for example, I will say sum. I would like to get the sum. For this sum thing, I would like to get, as I mentioned to you, that total traffic. So in this 4G column, we have something called, you can see the first letter here, the explaining dash. This is referring to the 4G table, and usually try to have a very small name, because if you have a big name, it would make it more complicated for you. That so try to all the time having a small name to make it easy for you. So now I would like to calculate this traffic, sum of the traffic. So I will just make just sum, then I will just add my data here. So I will just now click OK. Let me rename it just to have more organized data. See, now it's called measure, right? Measure 2. It's calculated already and coming here. I'll just rename it from here. I can double click and call it, for example, downlink traffic. Okay. Okay. Now let's plot it in the table. I just added in the table, as you can see, just summing, it went through the 10 of 22 of October, and it sum all the data within just 22. So what it will do, it will go through this 4G table, and it will take 22, and it will sum all this column together, all the column. So now this is what we have it here for the sum. So the sum is referring to a particular column and just taking the aggregation of this column, and there is no any other option for this one. So now let's calculate something for sum x to make it more clear the difference between both of them. So I'm now right click again here and just will now do what? Just call it, for example, downlink traffic again, but using sum x. Okay. First of all, which I didn't say it last time, say let's sum what it will give. If you write the sum again, it will just referring to column name, right? Adds all the numbers in the column. That's it. What about sum x? Sum x, if you write sum x, see, it's asking you first for the table, then expression. So for example, it's telling you which table you want to refer to. So I won't like to refer to, for example, the 4G table. So in this case, if I did exactly the same, I refer to I can just make again sum, and in this sum, I will just tell him again, give me the total traffic. So in this case, there is no much differences. It is exactly the same. It will not make difference. But what if I would like to calculate, as I mentioned to you, within this table, I would like to filter for a specific value, and instead of giving me the complete total of the column, which we highlighted, for example, the traffic, no, I need to calculate the traffic for a specific category, for example, for a specific technology. So let's say I would use another formula. I will explain in more details. It's called calculate, and this is You can see the core of the DAX, core form of the DAX. This is just change the context of your working. For example, this calculate formula is saying evaluate an expression of context modified by filters. So what it means by this, first of all, calculate asking for expression. So what I need to calculate first, I need to calculate my traffic, which it's called, for example, downlink traffic, right? This one, I would like to calculate this one. So I'll close this one now here. Then if you make comma now, see what it will ask you. It's asking you for a filter. So in this case, what I would like to filter, I would like to filter in this 4G table. I would like to look into 4G technology. Okay, and I will tell him if this 4G technology equal to TDD. Let me write it just in the same. If it's equal to TDD, then return the sum of the TDD only, not the old columns. I need to sum the traffic for the TDD only. So this is, you can say TDD downlink traffic using SumX. Now let's click OK. So now let's put it here. So particularly what this one, what it do exactly, it went through the table here, the 4G table, and this through 4G table, I asked for the sum of the traffic, but when this one technology column is equal to TDD, so it just sum the traffic for this particular technology, TDD or FDD. So this can be even done with a second condition. For example, you can add, for example, if TDD and, for example, ARFCN is equal to 4 or whatever. So this is the main idea of SumX. It's giving you control over your calculation. It's giving you expressions, asking for expression, as SumX mentioned here. First, it's referring to the table, then you give a condition in order to be able to calculate more. So this is the main idea, and also about sum and SumX, and the same concept is being applied to average and average X. But I would like to give you another example, just also more effective example. Assume now going back to this my column here, okay, and assume I would like to calculate I have here the column called the traffic, okay, this traffic column, and I have the user column, correct, this user called connect. So I need to know like what is the average user per traffic. I have it for all the technologies or all the sun. So what I need to do, if I use directly my average formula, it will just refer to a particular column. But what I need to do, actually, I need to do what first. I need to add here additional column. First, you need to add additional column, for example, here to column, just add a new column here. So in this new column, I would like to calculate the average traffic per user, or this column, let's call it traffic per user, okay? Traffic per user. So now, what traffic per user, I would like to do what? To go and divide my traffic. I can refer directly to the traffic divided by the connected user, which is called connected, this one, connected user. So now, once I created this one, because it's repeated, so I need to just give me that it's repeated. So I need to just give another name too. So now I just divided. I divided now my traffic by user. See now, let's just give it 2-digit. So in this case now, if I went back to this part, I would like to calculate now the average traffic per user for this particular date. So I can now go again in this here, for example, my KPIs. I can say here new measure, and I can tell them I need average traffic per user. Okay, so in this case, I will say average, right? So average, as you can see, average is asking for a column name, which I needed to first add one manual step in order to get this part, right? So it's called average connected, so it's called like traffic per user, right? So this is my column which I'm looking for, traffic per user, this one. So now it's being calculated. So see, now I added extra columns within the table. So this is increasing, first of all, the model or the RAM size, the model size of the RAM, utilizing my RAM. Now I added this one here. While this one actually can be done, see, now it's none because there's some zero values. So I need first to go back to here to this, just this like a quick hint. For example, here in this traffic per user, you will find there is some, if I sort it, there is some infinity value. So I will just tell him there is another formula which is same as Excel. If error, okay, if error. Now I would like you to consider it as C. If value, I give the value. If value of zero, give me zero. So in this case, it will work fine. So now let's go back to the table. It showed me giving now value. See, so this is the first issue actually. Now it's working fine, it's giving you this 0.18. It's take overall average for this particular day. So to get this one using average formula, I needed first to calculate a column within my dataset. But I can now do the same using average X. So now let's say this one. I will just do under the same, exactly the same measure, which is called average traffic per user, but using some X. So now I will just call it average traffic per user, some X, okay? Now this one, C, sum, average, no, sorry, average X, right? Formula. Now it's asking me for the table. I will refer to the table. Calculate the average arithmetic mean of a set of expression evaluated over a table. So I'll give the full. Then what is my expression? Okay, now my expression, I would like to calculate the sum, right, of the traffic, correct? Divided by connected sum also. Sum again. This is because it's measure. Connected user, right? Connected user. So if I did like this, see, now it's even more accurate. See, now this is a value, it's fine, it's different values. But the minute it's giving more accurate value, first of all, we saved some of the condition which you have it here. Because first of all, I to use the average formula, I used to add a new additional column, right? This is the first part. Second here, because there was some values as none, giving me an error, so I consider as zero. While this one is now iterating over the columns, and I was able to achieve the same through doing what? Achieving the same through adding the formula here. Now let's try to check the same example. Now what you have it here, just show you the differences, because this is giving more accurate because it's iterating through some X each and every single row, while this one just looking into the complete column. So now if I check this one, for example, let's add a new here and check it per site level. See what will happen. I have this traffic per user. I will give the site here, site. So I will give the site ID. Okay, site ID, and I would like to add the same two metrics, which is called per user, just to see what we'll have. So these two users, traffic per user and traffic per user. See now, if I just change this one now here to, for example, 2, it will be almost the same, but as a final iteration, it will be different. But see now, it's very close to each other, very close to each other's. And this one saved additional steps. So in this case, some X is being required. And the same concept is being applied for any iteration, for example, count or count X. I will give example about it, or even minimum X and maximum X. And this divide formula, just like to divide something over the other, I will also give a quick one about it. So now let's move next to the count quickly. This will be a quick example as well, a more quick example. So now, for example, assume now we have in your data sets, you have a group of sites, which is this one, for example, this in this particular data set called site list. And you would like to get the count of this site, total count, and you would like to get the count of 4G only, or this particular technology. So what you'll do, the same concept. So now we have this table, for example, is the differences. For example, this is using count and count x. Count x giving a particular condition when this one considered the overall count. So let me first calculate a column table. So what I will do, I will just again see in this KPI which I created manually. If you deleted this one, it will jump up because it will convert it as a measures only. See, now it's coming up here. So now I would like to calculate now the count of the sites. So I will just right click and make a new measure and just give the count. Count sites. Okay, I will just say count formula. And once I give, no, sorry, this is already created one. So I just need to get the count formula. So the count formula is here, you see FX. So it's also referring to table name. So I will just refer to this site ID. Site ID. See, site ID, site list. I would like to refer to this one. I'll just close it. Now I'll just do like this. Now, if I click like this here, so now let's count the sites, TD or 4G sites only. Like here, I was counting all the sites within this particular table. Now I would like to count only the 4G sites. So I would go again and make a new measure, and this is the same concept as average and average X or sum and sum X. So this one, for example, I will call it 4G count X sites. So let's now use this countx. So it's called countx, right? So countx here. So particularly it's asking you for a table which is called 4G. Okay, I can give directly the 4G table, but what I need to filter this table first. I need to make a count for a specific filter within the table. So you can now use the filter formula, for example. This filter formula asking you for the table, which is called site list, as you can see here. And I would like to give expression. I will tell him if the technology under this one is equal to 4G, then first let me close that. Then what I will need? I will need the count, right? I will need the count of the site ID, which is here, correct? So particularly what this one will do now. So what this one will do, it will just go first for the table and filter this table for the 4G. Then it will count all the sites for this one after the filter is being done. So I'm expecting now to get this 3092, which is equivalent to the 4G site counter. So let's make OK. So now if I drop this one here in this particular table, so now C is giving the same number. So this is the same idea, and this can be count the same for the others, which is mini x and max x. Now let's move forward for the logical function, which is if function and switch function. So actually this if function is switch function. So now assuming now you have this kind of logical functions, you have this particular table, okay, which you can see it here in front of you. And this particular table, for example, you have this coverage or something called RSRP, and you would like to have ranges. Like, for example, you want to give a formula to tell him if the range is, this one is below 104, then give me a level of 104, and I need the range between neg 80 and neg 90, and the range, for example, from less than neg 80, and so on. So you need to give a ranges. So this is where the f function, switch function, is coming into the figure. So let me move to this particular table to give you a practical example about it. So this is information. I need to give ranges for this SSRSRP. So moving here, now jumping to this table, which is called DT. So in this, I have already given these two formulas, which is called F and switch. If you click here, for example, what I have done, I told them if this particular column is less than 100, then return 100, else return minus 90, and if it's less than minus 90, then return this value, otherwise return this one. So let's repeat it now and see what we can get. So as you can see in this table, for example, now we have this SSRSRP, and I would like to give ranges. For example, if you open this one, you can see we have a lot of values. So I would like to give ranges for this value. For example, less than 100, from neg 90 to neg 100, and less than neg 90 as an example. So in this case, I already have made it here, as you can see, but let's calculate it from scratch just to see what we can get. So if I will just right click here and make a new column, once I make a new column here, This one will come here. Now I will just call it RSRP ranges, for example. Okay. Now I'll say if, okay, this logical test. What is the logical test? I'll say if the RSRP, this column, DT RSRP, is less than minus 100, then return result. I just give a comma. If result, if true, I'll just return below minus 100. Then I will just make. Again, if result is false, please return. I will say if again this RSRP is less than, for example, minus 90, then I will tell him, please return for me this particular range from minus 90 to minus 100. And otherwise, if false, please return for me below minus 90, like this. Then I need to close my data now. Let's click like this. So see, now it's coming, and for example, negative 90, 990, so it's having negative 90, 100, and so on. So now it's working. There is another way around for another formula called switch formula. So this old switch formula is a good one. You need to know about it. So if I right click again here and just make a new column again, I can use exactly the same, but using this switch formula. Let's see what we can get. So I will just again call this one again RSRP ranges 2. So I will say, for example, switch. You can see this switch formula. What it's saying, switch is asking for reciprocal expression, return different results depending on the value of an expression. So there is another formula called true. It's simply saying if the values are true, please return a value. So now, first of all here, this is the value one. What is the value one you are looking for? So I'm looking for what? I'm looking for RSRP. Okay, DT RSRP. If, for example, it's greater, this is the value one I would like for. It's less than, again, right? Minus 100, then I would like result 1, comma, to return for me this particular thing below minus 100. Okay, the value 2 I'm looking for if this RSRB is less than minus 90, then I'm looking to you to give me this particular case minus 90 to minus 100. And if the value 3, for example, otherwise the result 3, you can give me what? I can tell him you can give me this below minus 90. And I can do like this now and see what we can get. So now see, it's working fine. It's almost giving me exactly the same result. So this is another way around we can use this kind of. So here we have covered most important logical function, which is f and switch, and also this true function. So going back to our model. So this is what we have covered here, which is f and sum functions. Now let's go to the most important and crucial function in the DAX, which you will be using, like I'm telling you, most of the time. Most of the time we're using this one. So now assuming we have this particular table, which I'm referring to into here. For example, this table, I'm assuming that this is in my data set. I have this date, I have the technology, and I have the downlink traffic, and I have the site. Okay, so what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to calculate. First of all, I'm trying to calculate, I want the total traffic for each day. This one I already have it, we already calculated before, but I need to calculate not only this, I need to calculate the traffic of yesterday. For example, in this 23rd, I need to know what was the traffic of yesterday or the last year or last week and whatever. So how to calculate this one? Here where is the calculate formula will come into the figure. So calculate figure will change, it's like expression, or it's change the context of this particular date. It's having this traffic. No, I will tell him you need to compute or need to calculate the traffic from the previous day or the last week. And again, same concept which we have done before for the sum x. I can, within this table, I can tell him I need the traffic only for TDD. Okay, only for TDD I need the traffic, or for ADD, or for this particular frequency, not the total traffic. So I can iterate through this part, and through iterating this table, I can make a filter to give a particular value. This is also can be come into the figure. And also I can give two conditions. For example, I can tell him, give me the traffic of the TDD and also, for example, for this particular, the total traffic here, but only for TDD, and whenever the site, this site is greater than, for example, particular value, greater than 200, for example, carrying traffic greater than 200. So now let's try to apply the same, and so this is our, assume this is our data set now, which we have it here. Just try to make it more easy for ourselves. Now let's add a table here and see what we can get. I suggest, like, if you are starting all the time and trying to confirm your formula, just try to use tables just to confirm. So first of all, I need to drop the date here. So the date, I'll drop the date into the rows. So now I have the date. Now after dropping the date, I have already the traffic, this one. I just need to drop it as it is. Downlink traffic, it was under this thing here. It's called downlink traffic TB. I can just drop it. And you can see now it's giving me the traffic. Now assume for this traffic here, I would like to calculate the traffic of the previous day. For this day, I need to know what was the previous day traffic. So since there is no previous day here, it's only the maximum day is 22. I was expecting to get 21 traffic. So here it should give me zero value or blank value. While here I should look into this one, I should get this one. So how to do this? This is where the calculate formula comes into the figure. So if you can right click here again and just make a new measure. Again, calculate is one of the most important function in the DAX. So you can just write it traffic yesterday. Okay, yesterday traffic or whatever. So you can just make right calculate. So what it will see, it will tell him, give me the expression, what you are looking for. So I'm looking for what? I'm looking to make sum of the TB traffic, the traffic from this particular table, which is here, this part, this column. So I'll just do like this. Then I will just close it. Then what is my filter? Okay, what I'm looking for, I'm looking to calculate the traffic for the previous day. Not for today, no, for yesterday or for the day before. So I can use another formula, which I'm going to explain in this dates as well, but we can cover it here as well. So it's called dates. This is very important, especially if you're going to do any benchmarking. Dates add, date add, see this one, date add. So what it do actually, it's this add move the given of set of dates by a specified interval. Let's see what this means. First, it's asking you for the dates. So in this particular thing, I need to refer the column which having the date. So I will refer to the 4G date. Now I need for yesterday, right? So the number of intervals, I can say -1. I need for yesterday. So I need to move the dates for yesterday. And what is the interval? So the intervals can be day, month, quarter, year. So if you have monthly or weekly or quarterly data, I mean, or yearly data, you can calculate even the traffic or for the previous month or for the previous quarter. If you need for last week, for example, you can make it -7. So for example, I need it now daily, right? Because we have a daily data. So I just write it like this, daily. So this will be day. So I need to close now this and close it all. See, now I have closed both of them. And now let's see what we'll get. So now if I click this one here in this particular table, see, I'm expecting here to get in front of traffic, yesterday traffic, I expected to get for 21. Since there is no data for 21, so it will give me blank value. So in 23rd, I'm expecting to get the traffic of 22. So if you look into this part, now you have the traffic of 22, as you can see here. And this is where the calculated change the context. Instead of giving me this particular date, no, I asked them to give me the traffic of yesterday. And same for 24th, we give you 23rd traffic. And applying, for example, this one, I can apply it, and this one as well, but let's apply the one with using two conditions. Actually, this is like, will make it more crystal clear for you. So now, assume now we have, we would like to calculate the traffic, but using two conditions. So I just right click and make a new measure as we usually do. Then I can say this one, TDD traffic sites 200. Okay, TB, whatever the name. So now I would like to calculate what I would like to calculate. Okay, the sum of traffic again, right? It can be anything else, but this is what we're doing now. So that sum of this particular column, okay, This particular column, it's called 4G traffic. Then I will do like this. Then once we are done, now we can say comma. See now, the calculator is asking me filter 1, comma, filter 2, and so on. So the first filter I would like to do is what? I would like to go through the technology, right? So 4G technology here, as you can see here. And for this 4G technology, I would like to tell him, please, if it's equal to TDD, then make the sum of TDD. Not only this, I would like to make like this. And I have another column, table here. Let me show, sorry. So just again. So now I would like to do what? For the filter 2, I would like to get if the site, traffic of the site is greater than 200, okay? So if the traffic of the site is greater than 200, please return for me the traffic for those only particular sites which are having the traffic greater than 200. So what I'm going to do, I would like to do the traffic. Let's do like this, traffic. See, now I have another table. See, you can see call site list downlink traffic. This is giving me the site, each site traffic. So this and traffic on this side, this is another column, and this is actually I need to link between both tables with model just to be able to do this. But this can be cleared in the model bar. So I'm telling him the traffic of the sites is greater than 200. So now if I close this condition, so now first of all it will sum this part, supposed to sum all the traffic, but it will look into the technology, 4G technology. If it's TDD, then it will sum for TDD. Then it will have another condition for each site of those. It will look in this particular table. If the site is greater than 200, then it will filter only the sites greater than 200 and give me the sum of those sites. So if I click OK now, I'm expected to get even much less values because it's giving two different conditions, which is sites greater than traffic greater than 200 and sites only was having TDD technology, or summing only the D technology. See now what you have got. So now we have got the much less value because there is two condition has been added here. So this is actually the calculate formula is very important. You can change the context all the time of your, and we'll be using this all over we are doing here. We're moving away. Now this is calculate, it's considered as one of the filter function, but we have another two functions. Actually, maybe it will not need it now, but it's called all selected and all selected function called all and all selected. Okay, I have just gave some visual here example to show the difference between both of them. But let me first, before drawing this part, just to explain to you what to do. So before going to the practical writing and so on. So simply what this one will do it when you will need it like to filter your tables or your data. And this, like for example, my total traffic in this day was equal to this particular value, and here this particular value, and so on. So when I apply the all function here, this all function is saying except skip a particular, for example, table or a particular thing. So in this all function, if you look into this all function, I click here. So you'll see here, I asked him calculate the traffic, but all 4G date. What it means by this? This means please skip out any filter applied to this 4G date. I need you to sum, like don't consider any filter applied for this 4G date. That's why it will see this day, this particular day is equal to the sum of the 3 days because it didn't consider any filter of the dates because I give here the dates. So skip the dates. Okay. And all selection function, it's called all selected. It's actually do similar function. You can see here the other one here. It's called all selected. You can see it's the same, exactly the same formula, but one called all selected and one other one called all. What it do? Actually, this one do exactly the same job. It skip any filter applied within the date, but out of this visualization. So if you have a slicer here, this actually can control your sum. So if I click here, for example, now we'll find what? You will find the all function. You will find here what will happen. See, the all function, the first one, it's all the time, it's skipping any filter, even within the visualization or out of visualization. While this one, no, it's considering the filter within this one. That's why once I give two dates, it's just giving the sum of these two dates only, because it's the filter is being applied within the visualization. This is the core difference between both of them. So now let's create it again, exactly the same example. just to show you like the explanation while we are doing this. So let me first add again a new line column chart. I will just add it here, and I will give again here. I will just call it, for example, I will cite traffic all. Okay, traffic all. So now I would like to do what? I would like to calculate again. See calculate formula that traffic, sum of the traffic. Okay, TB, sum of the traffic. But I would like see now there is a filter. So what kind of filter I want to skip all filters. So I will just write this all filter all formula. See this one. Let's now read the expression. Return all the rows in a table or the values in a column, ignoring any filter that might have been applied. So if there is a filter, please ignore it at all. So now the filter, for example, is dates, right? So I would like, see here it's giving, you can choose even table or a column name. So I will give him the column name, which is same name, this one, 4G date. So this means what? This means this particular formula will skip all the filters which is being applied here, which is called traffic all here. So I will just apply it here. So before drawing this one here, I just need to add the date. And now I will give the all traffic. Okay, and also I would like to give the sum, the TB traffic already, which we have it in our table, which is same in this one, the sum. Let's see. Let's first change the date to have a similar. So now this is what we have here. So now we have plotted, and I will return back this one. So actually, what this one that it sum all the 3 days because it skipped the day. So every day it will give the exact same value, which is the sum of the 3 days, because I give this whole thing. So now let's write the other format. See what is the explanation for it. So again, right click, new measure, called traffic all selected. Okay, then I will just again see calculate formula again. This one we need all the time. So my expression, I would like to sum the traffic of the 4G, then comma. I would like to make all selected. I would like to skip something. Let's see first what C. All selected. Return all those in the table or all values in a column, ignoring any filter that might have been applied inside the query. If something inside the query means means in the table or whatever, but keeping filters that come from outside. Filters come from outside. This is means from any visual filter within the visualization. For example, from a slicer. So now I give the 4G date again. Now here, I'll do like this. Then I will close it. So here, now I have dropped this one. Oh, sorry, I dropped it outside. So let's drop it here now. So see, initially, if you make this one like this, initially it give you the exact same value as all and all selected. Why? Because till now we don't have any filter within the visualization. So now if we filter this out, this both of them, it's some that escape the filter which is being applied for the dates, right? So it's sum the 3 dates here. That's what giving the same value all the time. But if you did like this, now this all selected will just sum 2 dates because this one will take effect now only in the all selected. So what I'm expecting is see now it's just giving the sum of these particular 2 dates, so it become the double, while this one kept the same because it's ignoring any filter has been applied. Actually, this one you will need it by the time, as long as your hand is you are going more into the practical. And if you watch my previous video, I have get kind of complicated formula for the CDF format using these two formulas, which I needed really. So if you go through this formula, you might now understand it. You understand the concept how I created this formula, and this is the main difference between both of them. And by the time this, you will see that these two formulas are really important. Actually, there is one thing I would like to highlight. It's one of the common mistakes which usually any new user is being facing this one in DAX, especially that actually usually the users or the users who is using the Power BI, he don't differentiate between something called a scalar and versus the table format. For example, the DAX formula, whatever we write, some of them will return a value and some of them will return a filter only or a table can be drawn at the table. So actually this, like every time you are checking a formula, you need to go and check to check like what this formula is returning. Is it value or it's returning a table or whatever the value. So this one I will show you some example about it in the explanation for one of them to show how we can get it by the end of this video, of this DAX part. So moving forward for the dates part, actually for the dates part, I have already explained that this dates add, this can give some intervals. Like for example, if you remember, we calculated, for example, the yesterday date, right? This was yesterday date. So on yesterday date, when you calculated, we say, I would like to calculate the dates of the previous day, which is he was here. If you remember, we just can remove this one again and just write it again, date, add, right? So here it's asking me for the date column. So I give the table column. So I would like to calculate, for example, the traffic or the value of this traffic for 7 days before. So I make -7 or both 7 days even. So I can just calculate. So if select day, this means 7 days before. If month, this means 7 months before. Quarter, it will be 7 quarter before, and so on. And this value can vary even positive or negative value. So I will just return it as it was. This one was 1, and here this one was day. So this is actually one of the good formulas in the Power BI DAX. So let me close this one as well. So I will just do like this, and now I can close at all this one. So this is how the dates is working. Now assume you have a table like this one, and you have two dates, and you would like to calculate the intervals differences between both of them, even in quarter, days, years, or whatever. So I have these two tables, and I would like to calculate like what was the difference from this time to this time. So how we can do this one? Actually, you can do this one through directly subtracting start date minus end date, but this will give you just the number in as a number only. But what if you would like to control the intervals? Like I would like somebody need it per year or count of years, not number of days. Because if its difference is 1 year, it will give you, for example, 365 days. But now I want to return one value, which is year, for example. So assuming now I have this particular table, I have it already here. Let's move this table and see what this date differences, it's called date differences, do. So if I went here, I have this particular, which is called date table. So you can see in date table, start and end date. Now I'd like to calculate the differences between both of them. So I will just make a new column here. And in this new column, I will just call it delta, for example, or whatever the name, it doesn't matter. So date difference, right? This one. So see, it's asking you what is date one. So date one is just start date, right? Just start date. This is date one, right? Then it asks you what is the second date. It's end date, right? This is the name of the column, which is here. Here. Then okay, come again. So what is the we want the differences in what? Second, minutes, months. So there's depend on your data. So for example, I will ask him return it for me in months, and let me show me what you have here. So now I'm expecting to get C2 because if you take this formula, it's asking for days. So it's 60, the difference 2 months from August to October, right? So now it's giving me 2 because I gave month. If I gave day, it will give me 6 days. So this one will be very useful, for example, if you're calculating the time differences or time or hours or minutes or whatever, you can use this one within your columns. This is the main thing. So it's very important actually. Now we have something called dates between. Dates between actually can be used if you want to, for example, within a calculate formula, you want to calculate between two particular dates. And the last one, it's called date value. Date value, for example, if you would like to convert in the column, you have a date here. For example, if you have a date which is not following the date format, and you would like to convert it into a date format, for example, let's see the explanation for this one. Date value. C. Convert a date in the form of text to a date in a date and time format. So it's just confirming from text to date and date format. So if I click this one, oh, I cannot click, sorry, this is not Excel. So you just need to give the name, right? So for example, start date. So if this one was text format, it will convert it to date and time. See, now it's giving date and time. See? Just once I have done. So this is just as a conversion point of view. We will not really need it because we can do this one already. So now moving to next, actually, it's for the rank X and top N functions. Actually, for top N and rank X function, this will be very useful. For example, if you would like to calculate the sales for the top top 20 products, or the traffic for the percentage of the traffic for the top 20 sites or 40 sites or 20 sites. As you can see here, this is the total the traffic, for example, for this particular date. But in this particular date, I would like to check the top end traffic, how much they are generating and what is the percentage of them. So this is one thing, one example. I will show you how to do this part. And the rank X can be used actually to, for example, if you would like to select the top contributor as in terms of traffic, what is the highest traffic sites you have it, what is the top contribution for the 4 or 5 sites or whatever. And also this can be used for RF engineers, for example. You can be used to, if you would like to for example, calculate you would like to get the top worst cells, for example, or top degraded cells, or top lowest throughput cells, and so on. This can be used as well. So let me give you like these particular examples. Let's try to simulate it using both functions to see how you can do this part actually. So the first thing I would like to do, I just need to give a get table. So I would like first to use this table format. Okay. So in this table format, again, I would like to give the date. So I will just drop the date here, went into days. Then the first column, I'll just, for reference, I'll just give the traffic, downlink traffic. So now I have the traffic. Now I'd like to have this kind of calculation, which is the top 20 sites. If you click into this formula, I have it already here, I think. It's called top n. If you look into other, it's called top n sites. It's here, you can see. So again, we'll be using the calculating thing. So let's see how we can do this one actually. So what I will do, I'll just go back here. See, because I click here, it's just filter my table out, so I need to remove this filter. So I would like to go through this table, which is called site list. So in this site, I have the site, all the sites, and these sites having, this is around 40202 sites, and this is having the traffic sites. So I would like to get the traffic, the sum of the traffic of the top n sites, for example, top 40, top 30, top whatever you want for those sites. So this is where top n will come into the figure. So now let's calculate the top n sites traffic, for example, the top 20 or top 10 or whatever you would like for. Now this is showing the total traffic you have it in this particular date, but I would like to get the values of the top n sites. So you can just right click here, new measure again. So in this new measure thing, you would like to do what? You would like to go here and just do like this. Call it, for example, top n traffic sites. Now I'll just say calculate. Again, the same formula. This will be using all over the way. I'm just telling you. So it's asking you for the expression. So my expression is sum, and I would like to get the sum of the traffic. So this traffic, and it can be average. It can be anything else. This is depend on you what you're looking for. So now it's asking me for filter. So the filter now, what kind of filter I would like? It's the top n, right? I would like to filter the top n. So here is the formula. So what it's saying, return a given number of top rows according to a specified expression. So I would like first to get n value, then I give the table. So I will just give the n value, which is, for example, top 220 sites. So I would like to return the table. My table here is called site list. Okay. And I would like to return this one based on which expression. This site list having something called traffic. So if you move, you need to get the same, see site list, downlink traffic. And I will just close this one now, moving forward. Now it's asking me for the order, so I would like as a descending order. Now I'd like to close this. Now I'm expecting to get the traffic, some of the traffic for the top 20 sites only, like this. Now my formula has been created here. I can just drag it and drop it to this particular. See, now it's giving me the top 20 set. Then you can divide this value by this value to get the percentage of these values. So this is how you calculate it. And just quick things just to recall it for you. For example, if you want to control this through parameters, you can just do, as you mentioned, you can replace this value with, if you go to the model, and you can make a new parameter also quick for you. For example, let's say this one up to 100 maximum value. So it will come as a slicer. It will come here, I think. Come here already. Okay. So here's this slicer, for example, in this particular column. Just this is a quick one. You can replace this 20 by the parameter name, which is, I think, it didn't rename it, so it will come with the default name called parameter, I think. Yes, this one, see? So it will be blank first because there is nothing here, so it will give error in the beginning, see? So you can just change it to 2, for example. So now it's just giving you the top 2 sides. So as long as you're changing this one, it will change the value because this now you're controlling this through a program. So now it's just, it was a quick help. Now, assuming now you would like to get the top or the ranking first, the ranking of all the sites list which you have. So now let's calculate the rank for the sites, and then after calculating the rank based on the traffic for each sites, we need to filter out for the top rank sites or whatever. So now let's first click this table and add the dates. So I'll drag and drop the dates in this particular table. I'll convert it to days. Then I will add the traffic. So this is, we can add the traffic. So I will add the traffic here. So here we have the traffic. Then I will sort traffic. I don't need the date. Sorry, I need the site ID because this is a need for the site. So I need to get the site from this particular column. So I'll drag and drop the sites here. So now it's giving me. So I have sorted from the highest traffic to the lowest traffic. So now I would like to calculate the rank. So again, we'll go through the KPIs, right click. Then we have this new measure. Then after having this new measure, now we can calculate our rank. So now let's call it rank X. Rank X, okay. So now I'll say rank, called rank X. So now let's see what it asks. It's asking for the table first, then the expression, like based on the traffic, for example. So here where all selected function will come. So I would like to give him, I would like to make to check the sites, right? The rank per site. So here it's asking for a table. So I would like him to look into a column, not a table. So I will just give this all function. See what it say. Return all rows in the table or values in a column. So I would like to select the column, which is site ID. Okay, site ID, this one. Now let's just close it. And also this will ignore any filter. So I'll just comma, asking for the expression. My expression is the sum of the traffic, which I already having a formula for it. So I'll just give this based on the downlink traffic. So this is my expression, return based on the highest traffic. Then it's asking for a value. This is actually not needed. You can skip it. So once it's asking for the order, I will asking for ascending. Then ties, this is, we don't need it now, but usually this one is needed if you have some sites or some whatever category of products with the same total sales or exact same value. So it will give you, for example, those supposed to be 1, then 2, 3, right? So if these two having the same value to give you 1, then 1. So this, like if you make a skip, it will just make it in sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So this one you don't need it now because you don't have the same value. So I'll just skip it and just do like this. Now see what we'll have. So once I click it here, now I'm expecting to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 till the last. So yeah, okay. I think this is because we are making ascending. We need to make it descending actually. Just if you would like to get the same order. Okay. See, it started because I'm sorting here. So now it will be 1 till 400 4203 at the end. So now we have 4,000 sites. But what if, for example, you did the same and you want the top revenue sites, or you want the top traffic sites, or you want the top degraded sites in terms of success rate or whatever. So in this case, you need to add this rank to a filter. So you have the filters here. And for this particular visual, you can do what? You can just move this one here and go again to your formula, which you call it rank X, right? Then you can drag it and drop it for this particular visual here. I think you already have it, even you don't need to create it, but you can say if, for example, less than or equal, let's say 5, I will apply. So in this case, it will give you the top 5 sites which have the top traffic, and this can be applied to anything else, such as, for example, top degraded site or whatever. Now moving forward for the lookup value, and this will be something related to the information, and you can say that this is maybe will be one of our last formulas here. Then we go through the ChatGPT bar. So assuming you have two tables, okay, one of these tables is the one showing here, what's called this table having the site ID and technology, 4G, 4G, 5G, 4G colo, and so on. So you would like to get this technology into another table. The other table only having the site ID and doesn't have this technology column. So in this case, you need to have this lookup. It's very similar to whatever you have in Excel, which is called VLOOKUP, but this one called lookup, not lookup. It's called lookup. Okay, moving forward to the data. So we have two tables now. So what I need to do, I have first this 4G site list table, and based on the site ID, which is the last column here, okay, this column, I would like to get the technology, whether it's collocated site 4G and 5G, supporting 4G and 5G, or only 4G. So I need to look into another table to get this information. So I have the site list table, this site having site ID and technology, right? So go back to this table and now start applying the formula. So again, it's called what? It's called 4G, this table. So what you need to do again, you can right click here or even within the table. So you can just right click and make an equal. Okay. You can call it technology, for example, technology 2. Okay. So now you just look up like this one. See local value. So what will ask you? What is the result column name? What is the result column you're looking for? So I'm looking for the technology name in this particular site list ID. This is what I'm looking to get. Secondly, it's asking you the search column. So what is the search column? This one, right? Site ID. So you want to give him the site ID, which is search column in the other one, in the other table. It's called site ID list, right? So what is your search value? Your search value is within the same table, which is the site ID as well. So if you write site ID here, it will come directly, which is within this 4G table. Well, 4G. So now you can just done. You can just close it. So now you're expecting to get here this kind of directions of the lookup. And by the way, this is cannot be done if you don't have a relation between both tables. So this is what we're going to discuss later on. For example, here quickly, I have a relation, which is this relation is matching the site ID to the site ID. So this kind of things might not be applicable if you don't have this kind of relation. That this is about the modeling part, which I'm going to discuss. So this is, and now it's done for the lookup part, which is easy one and the quick one. Okay, last part I would like to explore. For example, usually I use ChatGPT a lot, especially for any programming language, because it can help you in any formula you like. See all these kind of things which we have discussed. Even you don't have a previous knowledge about it, believe me, if you like, just write your question in a clear way, or even you can just try to iterate it, the question, you will find the answer. So, for example, I will ask ChatGPT two questions about data survey ranges. Then, for example, how to get data survey ranges using, for example, you give here F and switch formula. I will not mention F and switch, but I will ask him to give me the formula, or yeah, the formula, and also I will ask him about how to calculate the top n sites, which I just did it. For example, it was using combination of calculate and the formula. So now let's move to the ChatGPT and let me show you what we can do. So now after moving back to the ChatGPT part, so the first question I would like to ask him. See, I have prepared the question, which we can do something similar whenever you give. So I just always suggest to give the ChatGPT the question and also some sample of your data, just to try to make it more clear for him. So, for example, here I have this kind of data, SSP, SSRSRP, which is having ranges, and I would like to categorize this data into these three categories. Okay, so I ask them, I need to categorize values in a column named SSVRSRP into three ranges in Power BI, and I just keep giving him whatever I need, and ask him to create a new column that reflects these ranges in my dataset. So I'll just copy this question and add it to ChatGPT and see what he can give us. Now, let's see. Now, I ask the question here. See directly, he gave me the formula, which is even more precise or even much more better than what I did. Even it's giving like you and the condition just to make sure that it's falling between these particular ranges. I didn't do that even. So now it's giving you even much better formula. If you apply this one, it will be working very fine as well. And even here it's considering if anything out of these ranges, so it will be considered as a blank. So this is one way around. So now let's move to the next question. Next question is about the top n. For example, I would like to ask him, I need to calculate the top 20 sites traffics based on the downlink traffic volume, for example, downlink traffic volume, whatever, column, which are given here, the column name, and Power BI dataset. How can I create a measure using DAX to achieve this? Below is my dataset. So I give him again an example. So let's see what we can get as well from him. So see, it's very quick, very quick. If you went back to my video, you'll find it's almost the same. It's just calculating. Then it's telling you to sum. Okay, see, I calculate again. Then the expression, sum, then the table name and this column because I gave him the column name, so he giving me the exact column name. Perfect. Then top end sites, 20 sites, for example. I asked the firm 20 sites. Then our all function. Then in all function, you will select your table, and based on your table, you will give the expression. For example, this all function, it will be here the site list. You need to give the table or the site ID. Then in your table, you need to refer to this downlink traffic volume, which is the sum, then descending order, and this can be working very fine as well. See, it's very easy, and I suggest to, if you are using Power BI or even in any other programming language, to start using Power BI. It's really very useful. Yeah. So this is actually was the part about the DAX. So before jumping into the modeling part, since we finished the DAX part, I would like to just highlight one which I highlighted in the middle of this video, that there is a common mistakes usually any new user or even experienced users can fall into when they are using DAX. Actually, if you look into this Microsoft Learn, what you need to do all the time you are if you are exploring a new formula and so on, the first part you need to know, like you need to read the formula, like the syntax and the parameters, and the most important, the return value, because some of them, like the return value is an integer. This means you can directly have a k measure, and you can add this k measure into your filters, or sorry, into your visualization or whatever. But assume that another filters, for example, if you go to another function at the search here, I just click filter, and here I will get the filter one. See, now filter DAX. See, now give me the filters. So this one expected to return a table. See, a table containing only the filtered rows. This means this one can be used within a k measure, within the measure calculation, but it cannot use as a measure by itself. Like you cannot return a value by itself, because this one can filter a table with filtered rows. So this is the main idea. Just make sure to check this return value, especially when you are working in any using any new measure and so on. So now we are done with the DAX part. Now let's jump into the modeling part, and I believe this part is very important, and I'll try to make it very quick. Let's move forward. Now let's continue with the Power BI modeling part, which I'm going to explain how to create different relationship and what it means actually by creating different relationship and what is the use cases. So before that, let's first explore what kind of data we have now. Okay, as you can see here, this is actually all the tables which I have it. If you look into the right side, we have 2G, 2G table, 3G table, 4G table, and 5G table. This is actually my input table, the original data, which I'm going to use to plot or to have some visualization, which including some KPIs, like for example, traffic, or you can call it sales or whatever the name. And I have imported another two tables, and I called it supported table. One of them is called date tables, which just contains dates, and the other one containing the site list. And let me show you, like here, for example. Here, for example, first of all, the 2G fact, I call it fact table. Usually they call it fact table or the inputs table. As you can see, it includes dates, right? And cell ID, this is means cell level, and you have some traffic data, CS and BS traffic data. And same for the 3G fact table, also dates, speed, cell speed, this is cell level data, and also some traffic data. And same for the 5G and 4G tables. And if you quickly look into any of those examples, for example, in 2G, this is how we have the data. It's dates, site, and the cell ID, then the traffic data. So this is cell level data actually. And just example for the date table, I just imported a table, extra table, like containing the exact dates which is being used in the 2G, 3G, 4G table. For example, these three dates, and like we have this kind of granularity. For example, dates, quarter, year, and so on. And here is the site list table. This is just having the lat and long and the supported technology for each and all of those sites, and this is kind of unique site IDs. So going back here. So in general, the main idea about creating modeling, for example, as you can see here, we have some relations being created, and there is some direction with this relation and so on. And The main idea that if I want, for example, now to plot some data between these four tables, 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G, in the same chart and using dates or whatever, if I don't have a relation created with all of them, it will give you like unclear data. So let me first delete these relations, then we'll go through them again. So now all my relation has been cleared. So now let's see what we can do if you try to plot, for example, sum of data between these three tables or four tables. So now I'm going here. So I will just check the first part. What is the impact on our modeling? So now I'm just creating a line chart here. As you can see in the top right here, I have this line chart, and I just give the dates here, and I use this date from the date table. So let me first, before using the date table, I will use just all these tables having a date. So initially I will be using the date table, then I will try it for any other thing here. So now let's plot, for example, if you go to the 2G table, let's plot, for example, this CS traffic thing. So let's plot it here in the x-axis. So first point you can see here, because I'm using different table, it's giving like exactly the same value, which is actually in general summing the 3 days together. So now let me replace this date with the 2G date table. So you see for this x-axis now is being used the date table from the date table support. So I will just remove this one just to show you the impact first before starting. If I drop with this one here and I just make it dates like this. Okay, so this is actually how it looks like. We have 3 days. So actually we have 3 different values for those. But if I use the other one, it will give me the sum of all because there is no relation between this date table and the 2G fact. So you cannot use, like, you cannot have interconnection between different data inputs or the like fact tables or support table unless we have a relation. This is the first point I would like to highlight. Now if you try to plot, for example, the same, for example, traffic, just to plot it with the 2G traffic, see now what will happen. The 2G is still giving different values because we are using the dates x-axis from the 2G fact table, while the 3G is giving now again same scenario, which is the sum of all the traffic of the 3 days. And if you plotted the 4G also traffic, this is actually will give you exactly the same image. For example, it's called voltage traffic. This one, let's put it here. So again, we're expecting to have the same value all over the way for the 2G, for the 3G and 4G table, because all of them like they don't have a connection with the 2G table. So here where the relations come into the figure. So actually what will happen? First of all, in this particular scenario, like the first advice we would like to do it like whenever you have relations, try always to have this kind of support tables with unique values. Don't like try to avoid this kind of avoid any ambiguous relationship. For example, avoid creating like between this tables, fact tables, creating relation between of them. If you want to connect all of them, the best solution ever to have a support table. So now let's try to do this. First, let me replace this date, okay, with the date table date. So I will just show you the first use case for this one. So now if you look into this, you'll find that all of them, the 3 days having the same value because it's summing the value for all these KPIs for the 3 days all together. So now if you want this to take effect and to be very effective and you start getting normal trends, what you need to do, you need to build the relations between the 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G table and this date table support. This is the first part. So let me go to this model view now and let me tell you what we can do. First, I would like, this is the 4 in between. This is, I call it fact table or the table inputs. And the 2 on the right, one on the right side list, I call it support table, and the one on the left, I call it date table. So first of all, one of the first important points or tips you would like to consider whenever you're doing a relationship, try to have like the naming convention to be very clear, adapt a clear and consistent naming convention. So for example, if I'm going to align some of these, for example, here I would like to align the date. So try to have the same name just to make sure. So there is a direct way where you can create a relation. For example, if you drag and drop this one here to the date, see now it's creating a relation. And if you see this direction, the direction is moving from this table to this table. And this is automatically detected from the system. I will explain this also in the next, here in this session. But you can see this relation. What is the meaning of this relation? First of all, if you click this one and you make, for example, you can see here is the direction. This means this arrow. This means that this table is controlling the 2G fact table. But the other way around is not the correct. If you make the filtering from the 2G, it will not impact the date table. So this will be showing as well. So this is the first part. And if you look into this, so this is the first part how you can create. You just drag and drop for the data which you want to create a relationship. So I create a relation between date and date. Now there is another method. If I collect above here, you can see add, edit, or remove relationship between tables. This is also one way around instead of doing this direct things. So let me first, this is C. This is a relation which has been created. Here you have the 2G fact table, which is the data set, and we have this date table, data table, or it's called date table supposed to be, which is our support table. So if you check this edit thing, you will find that here the date is being aligned with the date. That's why it's highlighted by gray here. And you find that that relation type is called many to one. This one, you can say many to one. Many means what? Means that you have one of the tables with many inputs, not a unique one. For example, this table is cell level, so this data is being repeated for each and every single cell. You can see, for example, you have 23rd for this cell, then again 23rd, then 23rd. So this is a relation, it's many to one, and this is one because here the data is unique. You have only three inputs, which is 22, 23. That's why it's directly take effect of many to one. And here this is a single cross filter. Actually, if you're trying to make it both, see, like this can now, if you make it both, this means both table can control each other. If you make a filter here, it will impact this table. So the best way around here for this scenario, it should be single. You should only make the control from the table support. And as long as it's many to one, as long as you have one, so the direction will be always from the table which has a unique relation. So this is, let's do like this. It's already created. So just I will show also practical example how these kind of things is impacting each other. Now we would like to create the same relations for the other four tables as well. So now I would like to take what you can put anyone here, for example, the 3G fact table. And now I want to connect it with the date table support, right? Again, I would like to align. You can just click here, then shift click, for example, the other one. So now it's date and date, and directly it's taking the effect, make this many to one and single, because we have table with unique values, another one with many values. That's why it's many to one and single relationship, and this support table will be controlling this one. And by the way, if you did it opposite way around, for example, from here date to, for example, 3G, and you again did like this, it's still working, but we call it just one to many. But still, the control is coming from the date table, which is above one. But just they change it instead of many to one to many, because the table in the above, this is having unique values, while the second one having many values. So, for example, let's try what we see and what we can get. So this is now the second relationship. Now I would like to create the remaining. Let me create the remaining with an easy way, which is drag and drop. See now, the same direction of this table. This one means the table will control only this one because it's only one direction. Now I'll drag and drop the date here again to the date here. Okay. Also the same idea, the date here to the date here. Okay. Usually I like to organize it like this. This is a better way to keep the fact tables in the middle and just to keep all the support tables around here. So now I created a relation. Now let's look into our date, how it looks like now. See now it's very good taking effect, each day having a different day, because first of all, the connection is being built between these four fact tables and the date table support. So now that's why it's taking effect very normally. So now each day having a different value. So now you can start building a relation very easy. This is the first point I would like to highlight here. And if you again try, for example, to remove this date table, you can, for example, make it as a slicer now here, and just make like date and convert it to filter, for example, a filter slicer here. If you collect it into filter and you select it, for example, only one date, see what will happen. Now it's controlling, like I selected today, 23rd, 22, and 23rd. If you collected only one, so now this table, because you build the connection from one direction, from this table to the four, now this table can control all of these tables, and you can now use anything you would like to know. For example, you have another inputs here. All these like are now can be used because you have a relationship between the date and the date. So for example, if you would like to use the day of the month, or for example, let's try, for example, take the day in the week, this one. Okay, I'll just put it here. I will just convert it to slicer as well. So yeah, let's day of week name. I just need the week name first. See, this is like killing Monday, Sunday, whatever. So again, if you collect here, so now you can know like this is 2022 and so on. So this is what now we're taking effect. So this is one of the actually this will be almost your case scenario all the time. So now you just remove the filter. Now I would like to show you like the other one. For example, this is the exactly same idea that we have a unique site with unique site ID, and here also those one having the same, which is the site ID. So for example, now if I try to use this site ID, just for example, let's say that you would like to check this particular KPI for only one site. So now I just changed the format of this one, make it as a text because I would like to have it as a filter like this, and I changed this one to a slicer. And now you can, for example, you can now make it even with search or whatever as we discussed in the previous session. So now, for example, if I try to filter on this site 1000, nothing will happen because we don't have a relation between these tables. Now let's try using, for example, this site ID from the 2G table. Now let's try drag and drop here again. And let's try it also make it as a slicer. Okay, and now let's select this one. See what will happen? Now you can see the data changed for only 2G, right? If you clear this one again, now only 2G is changing because this table is only under the 2G and there is no any relation created, so the other two will be remain the same. So now let's remove this now, and now if you would like to control it with cell level, so site level, you need now to go and build a relation between again the 4-fact table and the site table ID. So again, you will go here, and I will just do it quickly. You will not like now you need to take the 2G and drop it to the 2G site ID, and also we'll do the same here. And again, it will be only one direction. With direction will be that this table is supporting the other. That's why you can see this arrow is showing this kind of direction from here to there. So now, going back to the data, if you check this one now, if you can click one side, now it will effectively give you values. And this site actually doesn't have data because it's not supporting, or I think it's only not supporting this kind of having very low traffic. So for example, even a drag and drop from the technology here, which under the set list, I drag and drop the technology. So I said, select this one. I'm expecting only to have a 3G traffic only because here it's missing 3G only. Means this particular group of sites supporting 3G only. If you click into 4G, now it's making filter correctly. And even now you can even do another filter using site, a particular site. See? Yes. 4G and the 5G collocated. Let's change this one to slicer. Okay. So let's also change this one to slicer just to make sure it will filter. See now, once I change it because it's slicer, it's impacting this side. So now I can check for only one side, whatever. So now your filter is being working because you build a relation between here and there. Now I would like to clear the concept in general, like what it means by this kind of having this kind of what is the differences between many to one, one to one, one to many to many, and what is the difference single and both. So let me give you an example. And actually, the main point here that always try to understand the relationship type. And this is if you understand it, this will make it more easy for you, like to build like a strong model and so on. And actually it's not that difficult as long as you are having this kind of understanding of having support tables all the time. This will make it easy for you. So now going back to the data, I would like to explain to you what is the differences between all this kind of relationship. So now the current relation which we have built, for example, from the site ID, I have built that this table can control all these 4 tables because we have, if you click into this relation, it's moving from this direction to this one. This means this one will have control all this table, and we have relation B equal for the other 4. So this table can control all these 4 tables. So now going to this data. So once I, for example, can see the figure on the left, I just give the site count based on the 2G table here. I have the site count, unique site count. I just, if you like this one, I just make count the distinct. And I did the same for the 3G. This is actually called 3G name. Let's change the name just to make it clear. Now this is a 3G site count, this is a 4G site count, and 5G. And this is the total physical site count. If you click here, this is from the database. So now if you click here in this particular area, which is having this filter, I'm using this filter as a slicer from this particular table, which is, as you mentioned, that this one is controlling the other 4 now as showing the below relation here, below created relation. So now if you look into this, now if you click, for example, 1000, see what will happen. Now this one gives 1, 1, 1, and here there is no 5G side. That's why it's giving a 0. So now if you collect another one, Also, it will be exactly the same. And let's now try to put another filter. I will remove this one. I will put another filter, for example, from this particular area. As you can see here, let me copy this slicer. I will just copy it here and put it here. As long as this one is controlling all the four, so you can use any filter from this area. So I can just, for example, take the technology and drag and drop it here. Now, for example, if I click only 2G site only, see what will happen. This all blank, you have only 17 sites supporting 2G technology only. And if you click only in 4G collocated sites, so you have in total 1,110 sites with supporting 4G and 5G, and under this one having this kind of technology. So now this is the main idea that we already showed it in the previous example, but now I would like to show you the other examples for different relationship type and how the impact will be done. So for us, allow me first to clear all this relationship, then we can go through one by one again. So now let's try to create different relationship type from the site table to any of those. So for example, let's create from site table to 3G table. So I will drag and drop, supposed to be here, come from this one. We take this one down here. I would like to take the site ID and drop it to site ID. So I will just create it from above here, manage relationship. So new. So I will select, for example, the fact table, which is 3G. Okay. Then I will select this site list table. See, now it's automatic take effect because the name convention is the same. But now I don't want to make it menu to one. First of all, keep it menu to one, but let's try this both direction. What will happen? Both direction, this I'm expecting to have this arrow from both direction. This means this table can control this one and this. So any filter here will apply here and the opposite way around. Let's see. Just to have a more clear understanding. See, now we have this direction from the table is both direction, right? So if you go back here, now I have two filters giving here. This, let's make it based on the, I'll just change this name. Since I'm giving 3G, so let's keep it 3G. And let's change the data here. See, this table is having the ID from site ID, but I built the relation between 3G and the site list table. So I'll remove this one. I will take the site ID from here, from the 3G. Okay. I make it both direction. All right. So this is the data inputs and this is the support table. So if I make a filter here, what I'm expecting, this table now is controlling the 3G. So this one should having now the physical site count, which is from the site list, should be having one. If I click only one side, and also 3G will be one, and the other will be the same. So let's see. See, now it's changing, and even this filter become now only one. Now if I remove this one and I did the opposite way around from the 3G, just to make the filter, which is the fact table here, this one. If I click here now, see, now it's fine because I make it both directions, so both tables can be filtering each other, and this is not a good idea. Try always to give it a single way, especially when you have one-to-many relation. So this is the first one. Let's now going back here and let's try to change again this relation type. If you check this edit now, you have another one-to-one. This is actually, it will not be double. It's not applicable because actually what we have here, we have one table doesn't have a unique, and only one table having one can be a relation. So this relation is not applicable to be one-to-one because this is only applicable if you have one-to-one relationship between both tables. But this table, as you can see, for example, the sites is being be repeated each day. So this is not a unique. This is many relation, so it cannot be double. Again, for this one, it can be done, no problem. But this is actually should see. This is one-to-many. It cannot be done unless you change it the table direction. This one should be above site list because this is one. This one is reflecting the table in the above. So the table above having many, not one, and the table below having the unique direction. So it should be many to one. This is also cannot take effect. If you change it many to many, okay, it can be working, but he giving you an advice that this table, this kind of relation is not it's not supposed to be created unless you have neither the columns in this site ID and site ID having contains unique values, and this is not our scenario now, right? Because you have one table was unique and the other was many many site IDs and whatever. And now this is like you can change also the cross filter direction both. Also, you can change the site direction, which we want, like which table to control each other. For example, if I make a site list here, this means this one will be controlling this one, and if you make 3G table, it means this one will be supporting that, or if both will be site. But this relation is not recommended to be built. If you do it now, I'll show you a quick example. If you build this relation, this is you should be build it whenever you have many to many relation. Now let's see. Now I selected the single site list So this means support table filter 3G fact table. So this means this table will be filtering the 3G table. So if I click here now, okay, and make okay, now we'll change this one first. Now let's see this how it looks like. Now it looks like what? Again, the direction from here to there. This means this table is is controlling this table. So if you go back here and you change it again, this is the fact table. The support table is controlling the 3G table, the fact table. So if you click here now, this one will be 1 and 1, but not the opposite way around. That's it. Actually, we are almost like cleared it all. But just to make it clear as a notes, try always to have the support tables, which is not related to your fact tables or your input tables, and try always to make like these kind of tables to control the support table to control the data within the other tables, just to build the connection between both of them, as I gave the examples in the beginning. This is the one of the notes. Also, try always to have this avoid bidirectional relationship as much as you can, and also try to have a naming convention clear, and always check like for unique values. Like for example, this table, this site list table, ensure you have a unique site IDs here, because actually the main idea that to ensure that the column used in the relationship have a unique value. Otherwise, this is relation might not work as you're expecting, and also it might impact your aggregation. For example, assuming you have two site ID with the same, but with some like discrepancies within your information. If you go back here, for example, site list, assume that this sign is being repeated 1000, but you make it one time for 4G and one time for 3G. So this means that this like will impact the aggregation at the end. So this is also one of the advices you need to consider it whenever you go. And that's it for the modeling part. Okay, so now let's explore the part of the Power Query. Actually, what is Power Query? Power Query is a feature of Power BI tool which can be utilized to establishing connection to various data sources. What it means by this, for example, assume that you have multiple data sources and you want to combine these data sources together, and you need to start pre-processing the data, clean out sub-columns or rename the columns, or merge a column together, or merge two different data sets together, or make some specific filtering or sorting or mashing up the data, merging and appending different data sources. And after you finalize all the cleanup, you can just now publish and finalize the last data source to the Power BI. So in summary, the Power BI query can be used as your person SQL, which can be used integrated within Power BI, which can allow you to manipulate and clean up your data. So how it looks like, let me first give you a quick overview before jumping to the practical example. So now this is how it will looks like once you activate the Power Query within the Power BI. So in general, you have this kind of ribbon, the ribbon having home, transform, add column, view, and tools. Actually, the main, it's all the function you need is within the home page, and also the transform and add columns. But the main, whatever you need, it would be within the home page. Then, as you can see here in the bottom left here, this side actually showing you what kind of data sets has been uploaded. For example, this particular case, we have data set, we have KPIs, we have NR coverage benchmark. So this three different sheets has been uploaded. So once you click in this particular sheet, for example, any of those data sets, it will display all the information as you can see here in this screen. For example, here is showing your date, hour. This is all the information, so you can start working and cleaning this data. So once you start cleaning and taking some steps, for example, remove some columns or rename or whatever, each single step where you applied here, it will be recorded in the right side here, and this is like it will be automated whenever you upload a new data or merge or upload a new data set or update your data information or data inputs. All these steps will automated, and it will be automated, and it will take effect directly because it's being recorded. So this is actually showing here. And if you click at any of those particular steps, it will show you the formula which is being done. But actually, you don't need to create any formula. You can just do the clicks through the steps through all this kind of information there. Like you can manually remove the columns, and it will automatically take the formula by itself. So now this is, as you can see, this is information. For example, you can see it in home page. You can have here the close and apply. This is once you finalize all the data cleaning, you can close and apply the data into the source. And all the other information is going to be discussed in details actually in the practical example. So let's jump now to the practical example and see what we can learn. And I believe this will cover 80% and even more for what you need to learn about Power Query. So for the Power Query, first I just give an introduction about what is a Power Query. Now let me activate the Power Query and try to upload example to go the data sets, and also to go through all the practical examples, which can cover all, you can say 80% and even more from the needs of what you need to know about query. So the first part here, I'm going to upload my data sets. Here below, I just give the location of these data sets. So I will go to get data, then I will make more. I just need to see all the data sources which we have it. So now, as you can see here, it's giving all the data sources. Here I will select folder. I want to get my data from a specific folder. And once I make connect, here I need to give the folder path, which I give it here. So I will give the folder path. So once I give the folder path, it will give this kind of image. This is just showing the folders when it was accessed last time, what is the extension of these folders, and what is the name of these folders. Now, as you can see in the right bottom right side here, there is some options. There is combine, there is transform data, there is load. Okay, so if you loaded the data, it will like loading almost 3 files. So what we need to do, you just need to make transform data will take you into the Power Query. So what you need to do, you need to make combine and transform data. Since all these data, I know that it's having the same information, so I need to combine it. Then I need to go and transform it to start making some data cleaning. So I will just click combine and transform data. Now it will take me through the, as you can see, first before taking to me the Power Query, it's just combined. The data has been combined. Now it's showing me like how my data looks like. You can see this is one sample from the first file. Here, if you click sample file, you can take the sample file from any of your files within this folder. So for example, I have 3 files. So I will take the first file, which is DT1. So now this is how my data looks like. For example, I can see I have some spaces here. My columns are not being set or rows. I have some null data. So I have any information which I need to clean it up before uploading the data to the Power BI in order to have a very clean data and start working. So once I click OK, this will take me to the Power Query. Let's see. Now we are within the Power Query, as you can see here now. And I have explained initially this is how the Power Query looks like. So now we need to take it step by step to understand what we have here. First, in the home page, as you can see here, we have the close and apply. This is once you are done with the data, you want to apply it for example, Power Query, you need to make close and apply. This is once we finish all the data cleaning and you want to upload the data to your Power Query. This is in case if you want to upload a new data source. For example, you can do same as whatever you have done before, new data sources, so you can upload it. And here is if you want to give into some manual data. And here, if you want to change the location of your data source settings. For example, if you click here, this is like I have two data source here, which is device information and D1. So this one, for example, you can change the source in case if you, for example, change the folder of this particular data set. So, and here this is if you want to give some parameters, we'll speak about this part as well. And this is if you would like to refresh your current data. So, and here is other more functions, like for example, if you want to remove columns, to make some, add some rows or move rows, and also to split columns, use first header as row as a header, merge queries and embed the queries. So I will take you all through this with actual example. And here, if you want to transform some of the existing information, for example, you want to transform this column, date column into date only, not date and hour. You can go through the transform column. So this is actually this information, transform information, can change the type or whatever. Also, I'll go through it. And this column, if you want to add some particular columns. And the last one, view here, giving some just view about the stats. This is I will show it at the end of this one. So now let's move by part. So I can see of my data here. First of all, the data, this is how my data looks like. You can see this is source name. This is the source name of my existing data, which is being used. So if I uploaded any other folders within this data, it will keep coming here as this one. So this column actually it's additional, just to let you know like how many sources we have. So the first part I don't need it. I don't need this particular column. So you can right click and make remove. So it will remove all. You can go to the home page, as you can see on top left here, and here is also there is a remove column. This one. So if you click remove column, it will remove this particular column. If you remove all columns, it will remove all the others except the one you are selecting. So I will remove this particular column. This is the first part I need to do. Now the second part is a cleaning part of point of view. I need to remove these 3 rows, right? And also I want to upgrade this one or to take this one to use it as my header, right? And also to just to let you know, if you go down here, we have the other information, we have also the other folders which containing exactly the same formatting. So this means you have many blank in between. So before going to the blank part, I just want to take you through the removing this one. So the first part, I need to go home page here. You can see you have here remove rows. So here is giving you options: remove top rows, remove bottom rows, top rows, duplicate rows, and also remove blanks row. So I know that there is blank rows, I will remove it, but first let's remove this part. I will make remove top rows. So if I remove my top rows, how many rows you want to remove? You want to remove three, right? This is one, two, three. So I will give here three number. So it will remove the first three rows as you can see here. Now I can do what? I can, again, under the home page, I go here, see use first row as header. So I want to use the first row as headers just to convert this column 1, column 2 into this one, ID2, date, and so on. So I make use first column as header. So now, as you can see, my header has been upgraded. And the more important part, I need to make sure that I don't have any empty or blank data within my rows. So also I can go to the home page, and again I will go to this remove rows, and I will remove this blank rows here. So once I here that step has been applied. So as you can see in the right here, every step you do, it will be applied. And for example, if I click here, it will take me back for example, before giving this promoted as a header, if you go back here, you'll find still there is here this information, move to rows. So every step it will be recorded here and it will be automated. So let's go back to this one. So now I have uploaded my data set. Now I just need to do some more cleaning here. For example, what I need to do, I need to add a column, extra columns, just to convert this downlink speed, for example, 2 megabit per second instead of kilobit per second. So first of all, to add a column, you can just go to here. You can see here, you have add column, and you have different function to do this adding columns. You can go column, for example, this is like flash fill in the Excel function. I will give example about this part. And there is a customer column. This is through a formula, and this is invoke customer function. Usually you don't use this much, this one much. Like so, I will use this part for now. And you have another part as a conditional column, and this is usually use F formula. I will also show it to you. So first of all, I need to add a customer column. So I will just click here, custom column. So now it's opening this part as you can see here. So I want to rename this one, for example, downlink speed. Okay, megabit per second as example. So now I just want to divide this one by 1000. So I need to look into this particular column as you can see on the right side here. Download. So I will divide it, just divide it by 1000 as you do in the Excel, and I will click OK. Once I click OK, you can see this column has been added in the right side here, as you can see this part. And there is one more part. This also column, for example, assume I don't need this particular column, which is called extra information. So I need to right click here and just make remove, or again, go to the home page. And from the home page, you'll find this remove columns. But the fastest way is just to remove column here. Okay. Now, let me take you through other steps. For example, this date, it's having date and hour. So you can even convert it directly, this particular column, or you can add on top of it. So for example, if you go here, and let's first duplicate this one. I don't want to back this, so I can just right click here and make duplicate column here, and it will give here a copy from this particular column. Okay. So now let's continue with this part. For example, this is my date now. So in this particular date, for example, now I want to add, I want to transform this particular folder. So I want to transform it, for example, go to above here, home page. Then the second one is called transform. I want to just to transform it into date only. You can see it. You can have a date or whatever. So if I give date only, it will give me the date only. It extracted the date, and also the column has been like replaced by this new format. If you go back here, you'll find this was the previous format, date and hour. Now it become date only, and you can even rename it by double click here and just call it, for example, date or day only, whatever you want. Okay. So now there is another way actually. Instead of transforming this part, you can do like this. You can go to this date table and go to add column again here, and in that column you can just click add on date only. So this will add extra column with exactly the same format which we have, but it's called date.1 because we have already the same name here. And same if you're again here and you want to add the hour only, so you can go here and just add the hour, and it will come at the end with hour. As you can see, all the hours has been added to the right side here as well. And this is one part. One more important part which you needed, for example, you need to clean some of the existing data. So for example, you can see, I can see here in between, there is a lot of null data here. This null can be even a text here given, this is a particular text, or if it's like blank, it will give as a null. So now what I need to do, I need to replace this all null, okay, by, for example, blank or by zero value. For example, here, I want to replace all the null by zero value. So I will, here, I just click this to select these two columns, and I will right click here, and you can have this replace values here, as you can see, and you can just give null by zero, or probably this is like, yeah, you can see now it's being replaced null by zero. Okay, assume now you don't need this kind of information in your data, which is called null, for example. This is, you don't need it. So you want to filter out before sending to your existing. So you need to click here, and once you click, you will just filter and give whatever filter you need. For example, I don't want this null data. I want to remove it out from my data before uploading to PowerBI. So I will just select it from here. So once I have done this, now you can see now it's not, it will not be, it will be filtered out once we did this part. Now I want to do the same, for example, for this particular device, device name, for example, or downlink speed. I have some null values, which is the zero values. Also, this can be done by through removing the same. Just from here, I don't want this kind of information here. And this is how you can make a filter as well. And going back here, if you want to cover the remaining function, for example, there is, if you right click, actually, it will give you many things here. You can see you can remove, or you can remove other columns, or you can even duplicate this one, and you can remove the duplicates. So for example, I want to keep, I usually keep this as a last step. For example, if I uploaded some data with the same information, so I want to ensure that this data is not being duplicated. So usually I just write Control A, and I just right click, and you can see that here are remove duplicates as shown here. So this also will be recorded. So this will ensure that I don't have any duplicated data here. So to remove it all. This is also one of the things. Well, other function you have here, for example, if you want to change the data type, you know that, for example, this data is a number, and it's giving a text as an example. Let's assume that this one I change it now to text. It's coming. Let's assume it was coming as text from the beginning. So it will be give, now this one text, this no number. So actually this is, it will not be working within the Power BI. So you need to ensure to change this kind of information. So you need to, again, from the beginning, if it's not correct, you need to change it to, for example, a whole number or the same number based on what you need. So I remove this step because this changed type. But the most important part about this part, that you have a function also actually to check all the data type for you. And instead of checking one by one, you can ask the Power query to check all the data type for you. For example, I can go to this transform thing. As you can see here in transform, there's replace value also, which can be done from the right click. But there is something called detect data type. If you did this detect data type, it will go through Power query. It will go through each one of those, and it will ensure that these are following the correct formatting. So this is very important step. You need to do it as well, because it's not logic to make one by one whenever you do it. So you can just see automatically detect that data type of the currently selected column. So I can just select all and make like this data type. You can see now it's change type 2. So if we click here, for example, it will give you a formula. For example, here it's showing that, okay, this data type, date, it's date time. The type is date time, for example. This downlink throughput, this is the type of it, like, and so on, as you can see here. So this is also one of the most important function that you need to know about it. If you go back to the home page here, clicking here, for example, now we have covered almost this actually query part. For example, if you uploaded a new data, you can just refresh even this particular sheet by refresh preview, or refresh all the sheets which you have it here. For example, I have two sheets here. So once you did refresh, it will refresh the data to update the information which you uploaded. And here, this particular within the query part, this is advanced editor. For example, if you finish all your script, let's assume that now you want to give these steps you are allocating to a new template, or giving this template to someone. You can just take all the steps which is being done. You can save it outside as, like, in case if you want to reallocate to any other project. Now This is in case, assume that you have 1000 to 2000 column and you want to go to a particular column, or you want to choose this particular columns instead of selecting one by one and removing one by one or selecting. So for example, let's assume you want to go a particular column and you have thousands of columns, 1000 column rather. So you can just go to here, choose column, then you click go to column. So for example, give you all the columns. You have the search button as well. For example, I will give hour, so it will show the hour. So if I click here, it will move me directly to this particular one. So this is like very important also whenever you have huge data. And also this is choose column. For example, if I click choose column and I decided to remove, for example, this particular date one and hour from my data, which is the last three, I will just like this and I do OK. Now you'll find that these three columns has been removed because I filtered out from this one. And if you want to revert it back, you can just remove the step from the bottom down here. So this is actually one of the things. Also, we have it here. You have here, this is remove information. We already discussed about it. And this is also keep or remove columns, rows. Also, we discussed about it. And also, you can just keep again, remove duplicates, which already, I think we did it before. So we don't need this step actually. This is in case if you want to split some of the columns. For example, let's assume that you want to split this date by this particular column. You want to split it by delimiter or whatever position. So for example, let's try this one. If I give like this, split column by delimiter. So here, what you can do it custom. For example, a space. I have a space between these two, so it will actually, I think, it will be split it into three, like the first one, then the time, then AM, PM. So if I click OK here, for example, what will happen? It will give you three columns, I believe. It's split it actually, I think, yeah, it's split it here already, as you can see. Date 1, date 2, date 3. The date, the time, then AM, PM here, which is because there was a space between all of them. So this, actually, I don't need this particular step. Now this one, if you want to make a group, like for example, pivoting your data with, for example, the date and throughput only. So this is, you can go this by through, and usually I don't use that much actually. And here it's just telling you what is the data type of this particular, for example, it's telling you this, I think it's telling you this, you can just data type from here, or even you can do it, if you can see here, it's telling you this is whole number. Also, this icon here is showing 1 to 3, this means whole number as well. If you move here, for example, this will be text. This latency also showing as a whole number. This is just if you want to change it, you can change the type from here, or you can right click and go change type here. And this is if you want to make some replace values. Actually, the merge and the queries and the bending query, this is all discussing as well. I will upload another data set which is having similar information, and I will show you to what we can do about it. And this is actually the main part about the home page. The remaining, actually, it's not that important for now. So now let's go through the transformer just to see whether we have covered all the points here or not. So this is the table about the information of the table. If you want to transpose your table, for example, in case of your table, like you want to transpose the columns instead of rows, you can do this. Is as, for example, whenever you having in the for example, in the Excel file, you can do the same. Also, this is can give you the count of the rows. But for example, if you click this one, I think this is yeah, so maybe you can do like this one. Actually, this is not that important, to be honest. This is, for example, if you want to rename, it doesn't really need it. You can just double click and get it. And this is, we already explained to check the data type. And this is, for example, if you want to move this particular column to the right, you can just click here to move to the right. I will just return it back here. Also, I think this can be done by root shifting manually like this. Even you don't need to really do this kind of thing, but it's okay. So now I need to remove this split column as well. So yeah, so this is move. For example, this you want to form a split, you have to speak about it. This is formatting. For example, assume now I want to this all cities, all the information need to be in a capital letter. For example, you can make not extract. For example, the format first. For example, here I wanted uppercase. So you'll see now city 1, city 2, it's all converted to uppercase. And this is, for example, if you want to extract a specific information with a rule, again, can text after delimiter, so on and so on. And this is the main thing. And here transform, we have speak about it already. And for the add columns, actually, you have already covered most of this part, except this duplicate column. I was trying to get this one before. Here you can see already, like if you want to duplicate this column, you can even do it right click. Usually I rely more on the right click. And here index column, for example, assume that you want to add index for these all data. So if you click here, it will give you additional column with 0, 1 to 3 till the end. So this is also sometimes it will be useful for you. Okay, now this is a conditional. For example, assume now for this conditional thing, you want to add the ranges for your speed. So now let's click this one. So if you click this one, for example, it will give you additional column. You can rename this column downlink speed. And you can give the formula, for example, if this column is greater than a particular value. For example, I select the downlink speed mega, and for example, I say it greater than a specific value or equal, for example, 300. Then I need the output, for example, to be a text or a parameter or whatever. You can just give it, for example, like this. You can give the output whatever you need here. Else you will do this. Also, you can add another clauses here. Else if. But let me tell you like one trick, which is actually, I believe, one of the very important things. Actually, the language of the formulas here, actually, first of all, we have done almost for this one, except for the view part. Let's quickly go through the view, then I will show this trick. For example, here you want to check your data integrity before moving or cleaning the data. You can just, for example, click on this column quality. So it will give you all information. Here, for example, I already cleaned my data. For example, here is telling you that you have one data which has no information. So for example, this one, you can just filter it out, as you can see here. 1%. So once you filter this out, it will not be any more here. So this is ensuring that your data is being cleaned. So this is actually one of the things. Also, this is can tell you what is the column distribution, like how many unique values you have, how many distinct value. Also, column profile to give you bottom down here about how many, for example, here the distribution. This is telling you that the 38. This is just quick check actually. So yeah, this is if you want to go to a specific column. Actually, we discussed this part before. Now let me give you the last part about actually about the addition column. I have before explained to you that. Let me first remove these kind of things. Okay, I have explained before that, for example, you can give a formula based on the custom rule. Okay, but actually the main point here, I already gave a formula here before, if you remember. This custom column, it's called the language here for the formulas and this kind of things. It's called M language. M language. M language. Okay, M language. So this is actually, it's like you don't need really to get experience with it. You don't need it a lot. But in case if you need to add some extra columns and you don't know the formula, you can rely on ChatGPT. And I will show you now live example for this part, which will make it easy for you, just in case you don't. What usually I do, for example, assume now I want to get from this particular column, I want to get the downlink speed ranges. Okay, downlink speed range. This will be my column name. So now this downlink speed ranges, assume that I want ranges for this particular speed if greater than 300, for example. I want to give a text as greater than 300. I will spend it to ranges. So in this case, what I will do, I will go to that ChatGPT. So I have now the ChatGPT, as you can see here, and actually I have prepared my question, which I'm going to ask ChatGPT about the formula which I needed. I mentioned here I require formula using Power Query M language to extract the ranges from this particular column. This is assuming I don't have any reference about this F formula or any other one. So I will just drop the question here, and let's see what he will do. So you can see he easily gave you the formula which I needed. I say that this is as a text. This is what we need here from F till this particular data ending here. So you can just take this part now, and let's see what we'll get. Now let's go back to our Power Query and try to implement this one over there. So now, for example, here I want to make this custom column. So I will just click here, and now I'll just give, for example, the name of the column, which is downlink speed range, and I will just give the formula which he gave it to me here. And just make sure the name of this particular column is matching with this one, because this is the column which is asking for. Now let's try to make OK and see what will happen. See, now he didn't recognize this part because this downlink speed name is not matching with the name which I have it. This is also very important. So this is, you need to ensure that you are using the same name for the column you want to query. For example, this is here I'm using downlink speed, so you just need to replace this particular value. For example, this downlink speed. Actually, the main point that this is not the format, so you need to clean this part one by one. So for example, here first of all, you need to give go to down here, for example, and give the downlink speed. So we can even ask him for the format you need, and also mention for him the column name here, for example, and here as well, and here as well, right? So you just need to replace it all by the column which is on the right side. You can see now, I think we have replaced all. We didn't forget any of them, because if you forget something, this will into some errors here. So let's see. you can see now this customer column is coming, as you can see here, and you can even remove it, rename it from customer to downlink speed range, for example. So now let's just see. For example, this is from greater than 50, so it's 50 to 100. This is greater than 300, so it's greater than 300, and less than 50, so it will be, this was my range. So this is actually one of the things yet you have really to rely on it. So now we have covered most of the things except the very important function which is related to the merge queries and the append queries. So now this is one of the datasets I have. So I need to do two things. First of all, I need to append this data to another dataset which I have it. So first of all, I need to upload the other dataset. I didn't include it here, and I want to append it. So now let's add the new data source in order to make this append thing. So now let's go to, as you can see in the top left here, there is a new source. Then you go to more. I'll do the same step which I have done through the Power BI to upload the dataset one. So I'm waiting for this one. So now I will just go through also uploading through a folder. So what I need to do, I need just to click connect. So I will just give the folder path. Okay, I prefer to give the folder path because if you go to inside here, it will take you very steps very slowly, so it's like very tedious. So better to give all of the folder path. So now I will just click OK. It will give me try. It will again go take me through the same steps. This is a folders within the same folder, DT2, 3 folders. So I'll just make combine and transform. Combine and transform here. So again, it will take me for the same previous step, asking me which file you would like to take. So I will take this part. But the most important part I would like to tell you about it, that whenever you are appending data, you should ensure that you have the same column name for the information which is are similar or the same for between the two tables. So for example, this ID5, I have another column here in the DT1. I will show it to you that also having ID but with different names. So we need to align the naming first before appending the data. So let's click OK to see what will happen. So now this D2 will come here, okay, with this particular information, as you can see all this column. So the first one is source name, then it's ending by the device name, okay. So now the first important thing I would like to show to you, for example, here, this source name, I have returned it back here, this one, in order to see like, is it after we append it, whether it's matching or not. So first of all, you need to ensure that the column names where you want to append the same information having the same name. So this ID, for example, in DG2, it's having ID, right? So we need to change it to ID, right? Double click and make it ID. Date also need to be changed to date. And also, if you move to the last column here, this will have a device name. So this device name should be also same as the other one, which is the other one with a small letter. I think let's take the same name. I'm not sure. Let's see what we'll have here. So we have here, for example, device name. Both are a small letter. So I will go back to here and change this one to device name. See this one. So in case if the column name are not matching, so it will abandon as a new column and it will give a null value or a blank value for whatever is not available in the other sheet. So now what we are expecting, we're expecting that these all columns, which is unique, having the same information, not same names, it will be abandoned altogether. But for this particular last two columns, which is not available in DG2, this one actually, which is downlink speed, downlink range, it will be just be appended, but as a null value for D2. So now let's click, for example, D2. Then you can just go home page above here. Then you have appended queries. Then you will have append queries as new. So let's see. Actually, the difference is that if I make appended queries, so this means this sheet will be appended from D1. But if I make as a new queries as new, this will come in here as a new appended sheet. So let's do it like this to have a separate sheet. See what's the differences. So now he's asking you like which tables you want to concatenate. For example, I have example for 2 table. This one is available. You can just make from D2 to D1, but this is in case you have more tables. You can just go through this one and just move to the right whatever tables you would like to append. So here I want to move D2. So sorry, D1. Here, this should be removed now. Cancel and move D1 here. So I want to append these 2 tables. Now it will create a new one called append one. You can just change it, for example, to the dataset or DT, for example, inputs. Okay. So now, if you look into these sheets, how first of all, this one C source name, it's having 3 sheets. If you remember, D1, D2, D3, D1, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And same here also. This is having D2, D2, 1, 2, 3. So if you want to append now, you'll find that this all information now is coming here. It will be D1, 2, 3, D2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Moving, and all this information will be appended as well. So moving to the last one here, columns, you will find here that this one is coming as downing speed null and downing speed range 1. Since I just click append new queries when I was clicking D2, so he considered D2 as in the top. So that's why it's starting, for example, with device name as Apple devices, as you can see here, for example. So actually, this last 2 columns is not available in D2, so that's why it's coming as null. And this is what will happen for any columns which is not appended. Actually, this is actually the main idea, which I would like to take you through it. So now, the main idea now, the last thing I would like to cover, that there is another thing here called merge queries. Okay, so now assume now I have another column which I want to merge it with the existing DT, this one, for example. So assume now I have this device name. If you click into this sheet which I uploaded earlier, device info. So this device name, it's giving 2 additional information columns, which is called brand and device. I would like to add these 2 columns. It's like a VLOOKUP to this DT. So the unique between both is what is the device name, right? So I can make like merge based on the device name columns, which is available on both of them, to give this information to add it to the DT. So I click in this one. Then I gave again to the home page, and at the top right here, merge queries, and you can just make this time as merge. And merge is like you can see now. Here, first of all, since I'm clicking DT table, it's giving you my DT table. So here, it's giving you this information. Which table you want to merge? I want to merge it to the device info, right? So which columns you would like? This can be done even with 1 or 2 or 3 more columns. It's like a VLOOKUP. But since we have only one column, which is having like a similarity here, see now the selection matches this to this. This is just giving you stats about it. So now what I would like, I want to get the information from device name to append it to the above table. So I'm expecting to have 2 new columns here, which is called brand and device. Based on the device name information, it will be comparing these 2 parts. And by the way, if I told you, like if you have, for example, city name, you can just take more than extra. So now it's 0 because there is no matching. So you need to remove this part now, and it will give you the stats. Now it's matching. So these 2 new columns will be appended over here. And here, like it's asking you want from the left outer or the right outer or whatever. So for example, if I give here, it will give you some information here is available. If I give here, if something matching, it will give. If nothing, it will not give. And like for example, full outer. So I want to append to this one only. From the left, I want to give these 2 columns. So now let's see. Now once I click OK. Okay, now see I have a new something called device info table. If you click into this part on the top right here, you can see it will show all the information. Okay, so if now I selected and give this one, this will give the complete table, which is called device name. But since this device info, but since this column device name is common, so this you need to just unselect it. You don't need it really. So this one will extract information from this table to get it within this new table, which is called DT. So now let's see what we have. See now once we have done this, now it's giving you the new information for the device info brand. And if you make like this, you'll find another more information. And some of the information was not available, like as a matching, so it will give us a null value. So this is actually how you can append. And actually this was the last part for the Power Query, and I believe we almost cover we can say 80% and even more from what we have here. So at the end, like Power Query is really very important, and it's really very easy. You can learn it very quickly, and the main point that it's all menu steps, but at the end it will be recorded and as automated steps. And the last step you need to do is just to import this data into your Power BI now. But before importing, the last trick here, that if you import like you make, I'll go to a top left here and make close and apply, this will be data will be uploaded to the Power BI. But now, since you have a new table here, you don't need really this 3 information, right? Which is device info D1, D2. So in this case, you need just to right click here and say enable load. Don't enable load, just keep it here within the Power Query, but don't load it to the Power BI because you don't need more tables there. So you just right click here and you just make continue. This means whenever I upload the data, this information will not appear there. It will just stay in the background with the Power Query. So I don't need this table. So once I upload now, I'm expecting only to get DT table. But if I didn't do that, I keep this as it is, it will upload these 4 tables. So now let's make close and apply and see what will happen. This I'm expecting only DT table to come within the Power BI. So now this device info will disappear. And now I will get the DT table instead. As you can see, now it's creating, now it's uploading. So now, as you can see, now we have our new DT table, which is coming all the information, which is bin information. And actually, that's it for the second session. And I believe you are done with this part. Next part, I will do a practical session to build a template for the KPIs from scratch to apply whatever we have learned in these 2 sessions. And I'm telling you, whatever you're learning here, this can even take you to make some advanced dashboards for your projects very easily. Yes, for sure, we have more advanced things, but as a start point, this can make you advanced, can generate advanced insights. So just try to work and just to try to apply whatever you have learned here. And also the next example, which I'm going to give it as a video, this also will make it more easy to link all the points which you have learned together. And thank you very much. And thanks for watching. And please, if you like the content, share it with your friends and press like and comments and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. See you in the next session.